Yeah, welcome to the stream, everybody. We got a fire banger we're about to put out. I'm sure you guys all saw Ralph's stream last night, and you saw the one guy that he had on named Spirit, and he was talking about some conspiracy with Josh. Well, guess what, guys? We got a fire banger coming out from his new mixtape. This is coming from Mr. Farquaad. Listen to this song. Here we go.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
You a natural talent, my nigga. Straight up.
Got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. Niggas. How go? Didn't mean to shoot him. He just caught me by surprise. This is not good. No.
It's gonna be super hot fire, bro.
Blood all up on my shirt. In the morning, I got murder on. An 847, like 11 blocks and 9.
The Darkwing Duck, bro. Darkwing Duck. See my waves, bro? You ain't ready for these waves. Have you ever had waves?
I did. Yellow tape around his body, it's a fucking homicide. His face on a t-shirt, his family traumatized. I didn't even need to shoot him, he just caught me by surprise. I reloaded my pistol, cocked it back and shot it twice. His body dropped down through the forehead, tears in his eyes. He got by my hand, say he was afraid to die. Told me it's too late, my friend, it's time to say goodbye. And died inside my arms, burning all up on my shirt. Woke up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47, Mac 11, Glocks and 9s.
fire coming from Lil Litters. He's in the chat. If you guys want to follow him, he does some cool beats. So overall, produces a quality song. But yeah, I was watching the Kill stream last night, or whatever the hell it's called. I think it's called the hell do they call it now? The TRR tonight, I think. Yeah, that's what they call it. They should just call it like the JR, the Jigglypuff retort. Cause man, I fall asleep when I watch that shit. I'd listen to a fucking bum who lives with his parents and collects benefits from the government try to tell me that he and Sargon tried to block a bill about artificial intelligence because they were worried about the Terminator being a reality. Are these people fucking kidding me? I was just like, nope, not listening. Close that shit after that. But what really got me was that fucking story that Ralph told people. And the story went something, correct me if I'm wrong, by the way. It went something like this. Somebody called Crime Stoppers. So the, what do they call it? The ICAC, the Internet Crimes Against Children Department, came there, and they work with the, they came there with the FBI or work with the FBI, and they came to Ralph's house. And while they were telling this story, he explained to them that it was cow, and he showed them cow. And they said, okay, sounds like a bunch of spurgs. Alt Keck, stop fucking timing people out. Jesus Christ. Every fucking time, dude. So, from what I'm understanding, these cops came and they investigated his computer. And then after that, they were just like, sounds good enough. We don't even care if you have drugs. And then they just left. What? How does that story make sense to anybody? It makes no sense. You are on probation for committing a crime. You've barely been out of jail, what, 12, 15 months? And they say, oh, it's okay. We don't care if you have drugs. That never happens. That never happens. So I wanted to see how full of shit Ralph really was about this. So I called somebody that I used to work with a very long time ago this morning. And he actually liaises with parts of these task forces, especially in different states around Virginia, but not directly with Virginia. And he is actually a special agent in the FBI. And I know him from college. So I asked him some questions, and we went over Ralph's story. And boy, it did not add up to him. In fact, when I started telling him, he goes, let me just stop you right there. Where is his probation officer? Because if Ralph is being accused of a crime, the first thing they would have done, they would have called his probation officer, and they would have brought his probation officer there. Ralph never said that they did that. Ralph said that these cops, well, detectives, showed up at the house. They never do that. They bring your probation officer there first. And then they bring the probation officer there because they're going to be going over this. He said he was still on probation. It doesn't matter if he committed a crime. He is being accused of committing a crime. They would have brought his probation officer there. And it doesn't depend on the department. He was on probation with the state. And I double-checked this, and his state makes sure that the probation officer is there when you're accused of a crime. They didn't know anything. That's bullshit. That is an absolute fucking lie. If the ICAC comes to your fucking house and you're on probation and you're also just recently let out of jail, they're gonna bring your probation officer there, and they're gonna want to know what this is about. They were reported to the ICAC claiming that they trafficked child porn. I got this from a fucking officer of the law. I'm gonna believe the officer of the law over fucking people in YouTube and people in Discord. The first thing that makes no sense is he claims that he offered to let them see the computer. They will never touch a computer that could possibly have evidence on it until he signed a release form. He never mentions that. He never mentions that they made him sign a release form where he consented to them searching his computers. And when he signs that release form, they don't just search it there at his house. What they do is they rip through the goddamn thing. So if they're not going to take everything out of it, the first thing that law enforcement does is they go through what they like to call an FTK training course, and that's the forensic toolkit for investigators. And they're taught to use multiple tools. One of the tools is Coffee. They use that for scanning through and detecting hidden volumes, taking backups, looking for hidden files and things like that. And then after that, they take the I think they used to call it a bag and tag course. It's a completely different name now. But they take all of the hard drives out of the computers. They take anything that could be used to connect to the internet. So they would have taken his phone for a short while, and they would have put his phone on something that they call the CPIC, which is like the cell phone kiosk tool. They also have something called Cellbrite that they use, and they would have taken an image of his phone. They wouldn't have just looked at his phone and said, okay. So what he said last night was they just took his phone and went, okay. That's not what happened. And if he signed a release form, they would have taken all of the computers in the house. They would have also taken Andy's. It makes no sense. They do not just look at your computer at the house, say, this sounds reasonable, and leave. That is not what happens. They never do that. They never do that. Especially if they send the ICAC to your house, they don't look through pics on your phone. They don't listen to anything you say. They make you sign a release form, and then they throw your phone up on this CPIC tool, and they dump your phone as an image. It's absolute bullshit. That story makes no fucking sense. They do not send the ICAC from fucking Richmond, Virginia to your house and bullshit people about this story. I know this because I actually called a federal agent of the law and asked them the process that they go through. It's not true. They make them go through a specialized training course where they teach them how to use Coffee, dump stuff, take images and stuff like that. It prepares them for investigating computer systems, taking them apart, itemizing the evidence, making sure that it's safe and packaged properly. And then what they do is they send it to an RCFL, which is a regional forensics lab. And the RCFL thoroughly goes through the computer. They look for hidden volumes. They look for everything that you could possibly use. Shadow volumes on the hard drive. Things that have recently been deleted. They try to recover stuff off sectors of data that have recently been wiped. They're not going to believe some guy at their word when they're being accused of a crime, especially a serious crime where they have people being sent sound clips where they're talking about basically reviewing 35 gigs of child porn live on the air. That's not what happens. If that shit was clipped properly, and then somebody sent in a clip after that, or the next day after the stream, Ralph's like, oh, I'm wiping my computer, it just does not make sense. The cops don't take the person at their word. They don't listen to that. They're investigating a crime involving a child. There have been multiple people that have been accused of this, claim that it was a lie, and then it turns out it's true afterwards. It's not something that the police are trained to do. Their whole training process, especially with the ICAC, is that they don't believe the person. They say, we'll believe you're innocent right now because you're saying you are, but we're going to take all your shit. and they would have taken everything. They would have taken the hard drives, they would have taken the computers, they would have taken the laptops, they would have given him back his phone after they grabbed an image of it, but they would not have let him keep all of his shit. It doesn't matter what he says, that's just process. I've seen it happen to hundreds of people. They take your shit. That happened with fucking Puck. I called the cops on him. They took all of his shit. Okay, so if Ralph is caught on stream and he's talking to these people about stuff, and then the next day he says, I deleted all of my shit, they're not going to listen. They're not going to listen to what he has to say. He is somebody that is on probation, and until he is off probation, he does not have rights. They would have come to his house with his probation officer. They would have said, turn over everything, you'll get it back in 90 days. It's just weird. They would have pulled everything they could have. They could have got all his internet history, so they would have seen if he was actually talking to people, if he actually downloaded something. They would have been able to pull that up with coffee. It makes no sense. They also have this really pimped out tablet thing called Spectre, and it can pull everything off your computer. It's got this little control pod interface shit, and what you do is you just drop the hard drive into the little control pod, and it'll take an image of the drive, and then they'll ship off the image to the RCFL, and then they'll actually take the hard drives itself and they'll send them to the RCFL, and they'll compare the differences to see if you made any changes since that happened. They also have this thing called DriveQuest training, where they train the computer analysis response team, the CART team, to rip the drive apart and see if you were hiding things or deleting shit, and it's just, it makes no sense. Like, that story just doesn't add up. He never mentions a probation officer. He never mentions, them taking the things and imaging them. He just said that he showed them the cow, and they were like, Spurgs, and then they just left. It doesn't make any sense. The story is just, from a logical standpoint, if you understand how law enforcement takes these calls, how they follow up, how they investigate, it does not add up. The story itself does not add up. It's, where are the papers? Where's the consent form? There should be carbon papers that he signed consenting for them to search the drives. There should be a paper there from the ICAC, and if the FBI was there, there should be a paper from the Federal Bureau of Investigation, consent to search, your media. And it would have been a carbon paper thing. He would have got a little yellow printout. It would have had a list of all of the devices that they went through, and a list of all of the devices that they searched. And they would have had to have been thoroughly searched. He would have had to turn them over. Where are the receipts? They have to give him a receipt. They would have given him a receipt, and they would have given a copy to his probation officer too. So where's the paper? It would have been a carbon paper. It would have said a list of all the drives and devices that they investigated to find out the relative truth of the investigation. They wouldn't have said some shit like, oh, we just looked at the computer, sounds good enough, we're leaving. But it's just, it makes no sense. And to add up the fact that he's on probation, I don't even think they would have brought a consent form. Because at that point, they would have got consent from his probation officer, which is why they would have had the probation officer present to begin with. So where was the probation officer in that story? I don't ever remember him talking about it. I listened to that whole story, and it made no sense to me. So I would love to see the paper. He said that he signed a release, that he gave them the authority to go through his shit. Well, where's the paper? Where's the receipt? There should be a consent to release to friggin' search media forms. Actually, I think I can look it up. Actually, there's like a specific form that you have to sign. It's a consent to search form. would have been would have had the FBI's information on it. The case agent would have signed it. It would have been a local agent from the local field office. It's just it's not adding up here. It's to me, it's not adding up. Where's this shit? I know there's a copy of this somewhere. Yeah, there's even a fucking there's even a fucking PDF about this that I can show you guys right now. Hold on. Close. Okay, let me just open this. Okay, I got it. We'll go through the thing live. We'll double check everything, see if it's bullshit. And then we'll see how true it is and if it's not, if it actually adds up. Let's go ahead and move this over. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna take a look at this. There's this PDF. Okay. Make sure this is the right one. There we go. You guys see that okay? Does that come up? Transition. There you go. Does that work for you guys? There you go. That should be working. It should show it now. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so this is the thing that the FBI use. This is what the Department of Justice uses. This is what they use for prosecution. So we can go down to, let's see. Consent. There we go. Consent. 15. Okay, so this is 15 is the page we gotta get to. There we go. Agents may search or place an object without a warrant or even probable cause if a person in authority has voluntarily consented to the search. This content may be explicit or implicit. Whether consent was voluntarily given is a question fact that the court must decide on considering the totality of their circumstances. While no single aspect controls the result, the Supreme Court has identified the following important factors: the age, education, intelligence, physical, and mental condition of the person giving consent, whether the person was under arrest, whether the person had been advised to refuse consent. In computer crime cases, two consent issues arise particularly often. First, when does the search exceed the scope of consent? For example, when a target consents to the search of a location, to what extent does the consent authorize the retrieval of information stored in computers at the location? So at this point, Ralph said he's already given his consent. He said he's already signed them. So where are the paperwork? Second, is the proper party to consent to a search? Do roommates, friends, or parents have the authority? Finally, the consent to search may be revoked prior to the time in which the search was completed. When agents obtain consent, they remove the computers off-site for review and analysis. The time required to review can be substantial. In such cases, law enforcement should keep in mind before incriminating evidence is found the consent may be revoked. In cases involving physical documents obtained by consent, they have allowed the government to keep the copies of the documents made by the government prior to the revocation of consent, but they have forced the government to return the copies after the consent was revoked. There is little reason for the courts to distinguish copying paper documents from copying hard drives, and one district court recently stated that the defendant who revoked his consent to search his computer had no reasonable expectation of privacy in a mirror image of his hard drive made by the FBI. So it says right there that they take the fucking hard drives. They send them to a center to be reviewed. They do not look at them on the computer in the same fucking house over a 10-minute period and say, sounds good to me. That is not what happens. So somebody said that they're on page 263. All right, let's go down to 263. Is this it? Sample authorization for monitoring computers thing. Letter for trample monitoring. Sample authorization for trespasser activity. Oh, here we go. Sample email search warrant affidavit. Yeah, so when they get these affidavits, the agents have to make their case to a judge for why they have probable cause and why they should be given access to the computer. Why they should be allowed to take images of the computer. They have to show different things that they want, and they have to give a specific list of what items they're going to be taking in. So if the FBI, according to Ralph's story, was working with this small task force in Virginia, they would have made him sign all of this shit. So he would have had yeah, here it is, a sample consent form for computer search. He would have had to sign this. He would have said it would have said that he authorized whatever agency was going to look at this to look at it. All electronic computer. The agent would have filled this out. They would have listed the names of all of the documentation. They would have signed it. The agent would have signed it in front of his probation officer. He would have said, "This is written permission given by me voluntarily that I have not been threatened or anything. I understand I'm able to communicate with this." That he would relinquish any constitutional right to privacy in these electronic devices or the information stored about them. He authorizes them to make a copy of the information stored on these devices. He's certified, owned, possessed, and controlled the right to access these. And he's giving them the right to use them and to go over them. So they would have reviewed this very thoroughly. They would have taken his shit and sent it out to a regional office to be looked at. They would have gone through it in a forensics lab with trained forensic technicians. They would not have had some dumbass cop and a small little task force in Virginia that takes child crime, and it's probably a task force of, I don't know, less than 18 people? We can look that up live too. It's ICAC, Internet Crimes Against Children. Yeah, it's Nova IDAC or something like that. The task force. And I think when I looked it up on LinkedIn, it said there was only 18 people there. Yeah, there's less than 18 people working for this department. So this ain't adding up. And considering he's on probation, he wouldn't have even had to sign this. His probation officer would have signed this and asked what the fuck he's involved with. So why was none of this talked about? Why does Ralph not have a form like this if this really happened? He should have a form like this. It should have, the FBI seal up here, or the consent form. He should have all of this shit. It's not like people don't already know where the hell he is. Everybody knows where he lives because Andy showed it on the Purple Dragon. So it's not adding up. To me, it doesn't make any sense for them to have come there and for him to have consented for them to have everything, but they left everything behind. Especially considering that he said live on the air, which if people were really messing with him, why didn't they clip him saying that he wiped his hard drive and send that? Yeah, so where's the form, Wild Goose? Why didn't he just show the form? Instead, he shows us a fucking cart, which he could have easily gotten. He could have called them, asked if he could come in to file a report because people are claiming that he's involved with something, and he could have been given the card then. You know, if the cops showed up to the house and ripped everything apart, why didn't Andy call me and tell me about this? If something like this happened, Andy would have called me and been freaking out. Andy never called me once. I talked to Andy the other day. He didn't say a fucking thing. And this is the same day that this apparently happened. So how did this happen? Even if it was at his mom's house, Andy would have called me. He would have been freaked out. Dude, what would have happened? Oh man, I could get kicked out of America. What is this? This is fucking crazy, dude. What am I gonna do? Andy would have been going nuts, and he would have spam called me or called somebody else, and he would have been really upset. It's not adding up. If Andy was there, Andy would have immediately called me, freaking out, asking what the hell's going on. Saying that this is crazy, this is nuts, my life's going to be over, I hope they don't kick me out of America. He would have gone nuts. If they went to the house in Richmond, if Ralph went home to do a show and they showed up randomly, it doesn't add up. They don't do that. They choose a spot, they get a warrant, they go there with the cops, and they take your shit. That's how it works. So, and he would have had to have consent to hand over everything. They would have taken image backups just for, investigative purposes, but they would have taken the actual hard drives too. Because they would have wanted to make sure that there was nothing hidden on them that they couldn't detect. They would have had a forensics team go over every aspect of his computer to see if there's any kind of hidden drives, little USB drives, anything. They would have taken everything in the house that was electronic. I remember at one point they used to actually take your PlayStations and your Xboxes. I had that happen to me years ago. They took my fucking PS3 because it had a hard drive on it and access to the internet. They do that shit all the time. So, where is the PO that was there? He's never mentioned in the story. Where is the consent forms? If that really happened, where are they? I'd like to see the carbon copy of the consent form, and I'd like to see a story that involves your PO being there. They would have brought your PO there for the investigation, because at that point, you're not legally able to consent to anything because you're still on probation. The PO does have to be there, Lucky Hex. They have to be there by law because they represent them. Ralph is still under probation. The PO would have been there. Yes, they do. I don't believe your story at all, Ralph. I think you're full of shit. Where's the consent form? You signed a consent form, but you don't have it, Ralph? That makes no fucking sense. You signed a consent form, but you don't have a copy? They give you a copy. It's a carbon form paper. It's pink, white, and yellow, and there's carbon in between them. They take the white form and they keep it for themselves. They give you the yellow and they give the pink one to the court. There is no way in hell you signed a carbon form and you consented to fucking to a search and seizure form, and they didn't take your computers, they didn't take images, and they just sat there and looked at your computer. You are a fucking liar. You are an absolute fucking liar. I am looking right now at a federal document handbook explaining how they search and seizure. You are a fucking liar, Ralph. There is no way in hell the Internet Crime Task Force for Crimes Against Children in Virginia came to your fucking house and you signed a consent form, but they didn't give you a copy, they didn't take the computers, and they didn't call your fucking PO. You're a fucking liar. That is an absolute bullshit story. Actually, you know what? Hold on a minute. I gotta make a call, and then I'm gonna put it on voicemail. Hold on a second. All right. So, how long have you been an agent with the Federal Bureau of Investigation?
22 years.
Okay. So, when it comes to somebody, like I said earlier, the guy said that somebody from the Virginia Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force came to his house and that they brought no probation officer, that he signed a consent form for electronic search live, and that they didn't give him the carbon paper or anything. And does that add up to you at all?
It would be unusual. I'll put it that way. So
Okay, so
it would not be the norm. I'll put it that way.
yeah, I've never heard of that. I've never heard of a person in the Internet Crimes Task Force, come into your house because they're concerned that you could have child porn on your computer, and then they sit down at your computer, they look at some forums and an image board, and they don't bother to use any of the tools or forensics tools to search your computer right now, and then they pretty much just leave after that. They say, sounds like bullshit. They also apparently told him they don't care if he has drugs while he's on probation.
Yeah, but yeah. No.
So that sounds.
It sounds like it would be an odd thing to say. I mean, people do different things, but it would be an odd way to go about things.
So like I'm reviewing the what do you call it, the sample conform search thing, and I'm actually reviewing the searching and seizing computers handbook that the Department of Justice gives you guys, and it says that that they have to give consent for searching things, and then basically they take the hard drives, they take images of them, and then they ship the actual physical ones out to like a regional computer forensics lab for you guys to look over.
Yep.
Uh,
RCFL. Yep.
Yeah, the RCFL. So, what are the chances of them not taking any of the computers or any of the hard drives live while these people are at the in the middle of the bag and tag thing? I don't know if they call it bag and tag anymore. I think they call it something else. But they don't take any of the evidence and they just leave it there. And he also recently stated live on the air that he had just wiped all of his hard drives the day before.
Yeah.
Would they just leave all the hard drives there, or would they consider that reasonable doubt and take everything?
Yeah, again, if they think if they had the thought that there would be child pornography image on, they'd ask for consent. They'd sign a form. They'd probably say, okay, we're gonna, either image these here, or we're gonna take them and here's your form. Let us know. We'll image them and get them back to you. It's one of those two options. So, I don't think anybody's gonna be like, ta-da! Yep, you're good.
Yeah, that's basically the story that he told. That they came to his house. They said, "Ta-da! We don't find anything on the higher level," and then they just left all the computers and hard drives behind and did nothing. They gave him a card.
Yeah. So, like I said, it seems like a strange story. So.
All right. Well, I'm sorry for bothering you on the weekend.
It didn't go down that way, because it certainly could have. You could have got somebody who's just like, tried to do a knock and talk or do something like that. Who knows? But it's certainly a little different, little different way of doing it. So.
All right. I just wanted to. I also wanted to understand who gets jurisdiction with that. Like when the task force finds somebody that could possibly be, could actually have all of this. Like I told you earlier, I think it was like 35 gigs is what they mentioned on the stream. First off, the one girl
could be anybody, right? So there's so many people that do CP cases, right? So
yeah.
Like here, the state police do most of them. Depending on the size of the town or the city where he's in, the city could do it. Usually, a lot of states have governor task forces where they have investigators that are specialized, and then like Homeland Security does them. We do them. Postal inspectors. A lot of different agencies could, depending if they have a hook in. But usually, it's folks that are specialize in that route. Governor's task force, state police task forces, or the FBI or Homeland Security, something like that.
Well, the thing that was weird about it was they were live on stream and they had this other girl on, and she's like, "Yeah, we got the mega upload link," and she downloaded it, and I'm like, "Why are you saying that on the air?" She's admitting to the trafficking of child porn live on the air.
She was a minor, right?
I don't know if she was a minor or not. I asked my one friend. He said she was like over the age of 18, which means that she's downloading it now, and then she's sending them like a video clip showing that there's pictures and files and what's going on. Which even just filming the fucking folder could be considered trafficking if there's an image of a child.
Like not to get too legalistic with you. I mean, your friend, the attorney, was, like half of it's like an intent. There's like an intent crime. So it's a different intent versus like, oh, I'm going to go into the site and download, a gigabyte of child pornography. One, bad, go to jail for a long time. But if you're like, oh, I want to get onto this site and download porn so I can let people know to be warned, like, still not smart, but you don't have the, you don't have the intent, shall we say, to, possess child pornography. Although like I said, I've never worked the child pornography stuff.
Yeah, but with intent, it could be stretched out a lot with the law. Like, even when you don't intend to do something, they can still charge you.
I don't even know if it's the possession stuff, but like sentencing wise, I think you got to have most of those guys, they've got so many cases with guys that have intent to possess child pornography that they don't need to waste their time on the like, oh, I was doing this or I was doing that. Whatever.
Yeah, they apparently came across like a pedophile ring on Instagram and Discord, and when they started talking about it, they said, "Oh, this is crazy. The girl has all the copies of it. She hasn't sent it to us. We told her to zip it up and turn it in as evidence." And I was like, "I don't know. That's really risky when you have all of that on your computer. It's a bit strange. They're going to ask why you downloaded it all. Why didn't you just give them the link so they could investigate it and subpoena it with Mega Upload?" And it's very strange for them to just have her download it, and then it's like, oh, well, look, we got this video. Here are the pictures, but the girls aren't nude. We photoshopped out their nipples and stuff like that. And it's like, why are you guys even going this length? Just report it.
Don't add, subtract, but So.
All right, well, I'm sorry to bother you while you're having your day off.
What's that?
I'm sorry to bother you while you're enjoying your weekend, though.
All good.
Well, I'll see you next week, man. Take it easy. See? It just makes no sense. No sense. Your probation officer would have been there. It's not adding up, Ralph. Your PO would have been there. You would have had a copy of that consent form. It's just not adding up. It's just not adding up, man. Sure, the jurisdiction thing, it bounces between places, but you would have had that form. You should have that form, man. Yeah, I have a private contract I have to do. So it's weird. They would have they would have brought your PO there. That is unquestionable. You're on probation. You attacked the cop. You went to jail for it. You got out. You're barely out 15 months. You still would have been on probation. Your PO would have been there. They would have had to have been there. It's not adding up, man. Thanks, Senator Invictus. This whole story doesn't add up to me. The whole story seems like a lie. It's just not adding up, man. I mean, I actually looked it up. There's only one woman on that entire task force. Should we call her and see if they actually went there? I don't know. Can we do that? Was it the Richmond Police Department? Are they even open on the weekends? Nah, the PO number would be private. Is the Richmond Police open on the weekends? Let's see. Richmond Police Department. Okay. Let's call them live on the air. I don't give a fuck.
Communications. This is Glenn. Can I help you?
Hi, I'd like to talk to the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force.
Okay. You'd like to speak to Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force?
Yeah.
Okay. Hold on just a second. All right, sir. What city is this incident you want to talk about occurring in?
Richmond.
Richmond. What state?
Virginia.
Okay. Well, you've reached Richardson, Texas Police Department.
Oh, that's weird. I just looked up Richmond Police Department. Sorry, I hit the wrong number. Hold on. Thanks.
Okay.
That's weird. Why did it give me the wrong number? I'm being trolled. Somebody gave me the wrong fucking number in Discord. Look it up myself. Guys are fucking useless.
Thank you for calling the City of Richmond Police Department's Division of Emergency Communications. If you have an emergency, please hang up now and dial 911. The following 6 options will help us direct your call. Please listen to the following choices before you make a selection. For non-emergency police response, press 1. For City Hall Call Center, press 2. For police information, press 3. For Sheriff Department or Lockup or Detention Center, press 4. For the Magistrate's Office, press 5. For Fire Prevention Hotline, press 6. To repeat this message, press pound. Thank you for calling the City of Richmond Police Department's Division of Emergency Communications. If you have an emergency, please hang up now and dial 911. The following 6 options will help us direct your call. Please listen to the following choices before you make a selection. For non-emergency police response, press 1.
Wait while I transfer your call.
Richmond Communications, Hawker speaking. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm trying to reach the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force in Richmond.
Internet crimes against. Let me see if I can find the number. Okay, name that organization for me one more time.
The Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. It's the ICAC. It says it's in Richmond, Virginia.
Is it in reference to something specific?
It's in reference to a crime that's being investigated currently.
Do you have an officer's name?
I do not.
Okay, hold on one second, okay?
Yeah.
Hello, sir. You ready for that number?
Yeah, what's the number?
It's 674.
Hmm? 674?
674. Yeah, hold on. Let me get the last four. 2767.
And what's the area code? Is it the same as yours?
804. Yes, sir.
04. All right. Thank you. You have a good day.
You're welcome. You too.
Jesus Christ, Shaniqua. Holy fuck.
You have reached the High-Tech Crimes Division of the Virginia State Police. If you wish to leave a message, please do so after the tone.
They're not open on the weekends, apparently. Looks like, I don't know. This whole story isn't adding up, Ralph. I'm gonna have to call them on Monday, and we're gonna see while you're live in Miami if this is true or not. Because I don't believe you. I think you're full of shit. I think you're a liar, and I don't think this ever happened. I don't believe you. There is no way in hell that a fucking task force that's tasked with fucking stopping people from committing acts of sick depravity on children is just going to take somebody that's on probation at their word. I I don't know, Richard. We'll have to check on Monday when they're open. It's not adding up. We got this fucking thing. This is what he shows us. And he says that it was a woman. There's only one woman on that task force. It's just very strange, very strange. You make that. Yeah, this is just weird. I don't know. Maybe it was just the Shaniqua. Maybe I should. I'm gonna call during the week. I'm gonna do a show on Monday. I'm gonna get up really early, like around 9. I'm gonna call this fucking City of Richmond Police Department, and maybe I won't get fucking Shaniqua, and I'll be able to actually get an answer. There's no way in hell they left his computers there. No way. No way they left the computers there. They would have taken the phone. They would have taken the computer. It's not going to happen. I want to see that yellow paper. If he shows me a yellow carbon paper, I will believe it. I'm not going to believe this story until I see it. And the fact that he said that they told him, I'm okay, I don't care if you have drugs when he's on probation, not true. He said that live on the air last night. They said they don't even care if he has drugs. There is no way in hell a cop said, we got reports that you have drugs, but we're not going to look, and we're going to take you on your word and say nothing. It's just very weird. They don't do that. He has no paperwork. Where is all the paperwork? He kept the card, but he didn't keep a fucking consent form for them to search his computers? Who does that? Who doesn't keep the consent forms? And what cop goes to your house and says, I don't care if you have drugs even though you're on probation. Doesn't matter to me. Actually, they did, Justin. He said live on the air last night. He said they claimed that he had drugs and that they got reports that he had drugs and that they didn't care. And that the cop said, I don't even care if you have drugs. That does not happen. They would have definitely cared if he had illegal drugs. You're going to tell me that the cops are going to listen to him when he's got a fucking record like this? Yeah, they really don't care. They're gonna really listen to this guy. Assault and battery in the third degree in 2010. Driving under the influence. Disorderly conduct. Driving under a license suspension. Publicly drunk and intoxicated. Speeding. Yeah, they're gonna believe him. Yeah, it's totally believable, you know. They're just gonna take him on his word. He's a good boy. He doesn't have a history of being drunk and assaulting people and all this stuff. Yeah, never fucking happened. Totally a lie. They gave him all this stuff, but they didn't bother to give him anything else. Just not adding up, man. They would have given you the fucking forms. You would have had them. You would have had to keep them for legality reasons because they wouldn't have returned anything. Because imagine if they took an image of his hard drive and they found something that was very scandalous, and he had no reason to fucking lie about it, but it was something like a picture of a young girl. They could charge him for that, and then he couldn't argue it because he doesn't have the consent form anymore. Like, I'm supposed to believe that the cops just went to the house and were like, seem like an okay guy. We're not going to investigate it. We took a quick look at your computer. You got Fortnite on it. It's okay. You know, you seem like a cool guy. You know what? I don't even care if you have drugs. Smoke a little pot. It's okay. I did it in college. It's okay. You're a good guy. It's alright. You're good. Yeah, alright. Sure. Sure, Ralph. Yeah, sure, Godwinson. Do you have Discord? Do you have Discord or do you have Google Hangouts or something? I'll bring you on. There's an invite. You joining, Godwinson? I'm looking in Discord. I don't see you in the room. People's Populous Press. Oh, I just got a DM from People's Populous Press. I miss the streamy chat too. I miss having polls and being able to leave Corky on when I'm AFK. Hold on, they're making a hangout, I think. I don't know if I can play Corky on YouTube. It's because of the fucking potential copyright claims. I mean, I'm supposed to believe that the cops were laughing. Were laughing about this? They found out that he could have been accused for trafficking child porn. And Ralph said the cops sat down with him and laughed and said, "Wow, Cow is a bunch of spurgs." Does that sound like something a cop would do? Alright, hold on. I'm bringing PPP in. I don't see him in the voice chat thing. Join the meeting room. I'll drag you in. Hey, what's up?
Hi, it's not PPP, it's Godwinson. Sorry, I just used PPP.
Hi, it's not PPP, it's Godwinson. Sorry, I just used PPP.
Might want to turn off your stream.
Can you hear me, Zoom?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. First of all, I just want to make clear that I hate you, actually. I actually don't like you at all as a person. But I think you've got an insight, right, into sort of intimate dealings with the police, and especially around sort of being investigated for CP, is that right?
Yeah, it's just not adding up to me. This whole story. When I heard it last night, I was like, "That's not how it goes. It's not adding up here."
So, what I've just picked up on just joining the stream is you say that they wouldn't have just let go the illegal drug stuff, would they?
No, not with him being on probation. I highly doubt a cop would have said, "We don't care if you have illegal drugs," which he stated on his stream last night that they said. They said, "We don't care if you even have drugs."
So, do you think he was actually visited by the police then, Sue?
I do not believe so. I don't believe that.
What about that card? What about the card that he's been showing?
You could very well walk into the police station and ask to speak to a detective that specializes in crimes. Ask for their card so that people are going to prank call you. It's not that hard to just walk in and get a card.
So, I mean, are you speaking from experience here about? Because I mean, look, there's smoke around you, isn't there? Have you been investigated like this? Have you been visited even? Is perhaps the question I'm going to.
No, they don't come out for voice recordings of you trolling people. They need actual evidence, and there's a whole stream where he's talking about how he's handling and managing it with a girl, and the other girl that makes her money by basically presenting herself as a little girl being taken advantage of and selling videos of it on Pornhub.
But Zoom, how are you making the assertion then that Ralph's making all of this up? Because I mean, you're speaking. But do you know the law intimately?
Yeah.
Is this your own experience that you're relaying here?
No, I know it from understanding how internet law works. There's no way in hell they're going to open a criminal investigation and come to the house and actually have consent forms for him to sign, yet he's not going to be able to present any consent forms. It makes no sense at all. For them to even have the consent forms, let alone go out and check on that, they would have had to have done an investigation into the reports beforehand. They would have had to have listened to the streams and seen it as, warrantable enough to go to the house and actually look at things. And to get to the point where they would have had to make him sign a consent form, they would have either had to have had a warrant that gave them the right to consent, or they would have had enough for a reasonable doubt to not think that it was a prank to actually show up to the house.
So what you're saying here is that Ralph has made all of this up for what?
For attention.
For attention. Why would he say that? Why would he say, "Oh, I've been visited by the police over CP"? It's a weird thing to beg attention for, isn't it?
It adds some kind of views to his show where people get on to watch and listen to him struggle to explain things. I mean, come on, does that story add up to you at all?
I just don't see why you'd. I don't know. Maybe it's the mind of Ralph at this point in time, but I don't see why he'd brag about the police coming down and sitting with him as they both browsed cow, and then they took a trip to Kiwi Farms. And I don't know how he could spin that as a good story, as a point of.
I don't know why he would tell the story to begin with. In what world can you honestly believe that an internet crimes against children task force detective came down there with her boyfriend from the FBI, and they sat in Ralph's mom's house?
Wait, what? I've not heard this little detail. What?
Yeah,
the police
they had
came
some.
down.
They had some tie to the FBI or some bullshit. I heard part of the story on Discord last night. People were playing me clips. And they showed up, and the chick sat down, and he was like, "Oh, it's a bunch of spurgs on cow." And then he showed her what cow was. He showed her what Kiwi Farms was. She did a cursory glance at his computer, went through some files, looked at some documents, didn't bring out a forensics toolkit at all, didn't actually take images of the drives or the phone or anything, just sat there bullshitting with him about cow. She said, "Look, I don't even care if you have some illegal drugs." He said it was all a joke and they were trolling, that he's innocent in all this. The woman said, "Well, it sounds like they're a bunch of spurgs." They all laughed together in his mom's house, and then they left him with a card. They didn't use any of the toolkits or tools or special things that they use to actually, begin a forensics investigation into somebody that's being accused of that. He never mentions it. He never mentions them taking any kind of evidence, just that he showed them what cow and Kiwi Farms was. They looked at his computer, just clicking through the folders and looking for stuff, had a good laugh at everything, and then they left with him with the card.
But he signed a form, he says. That's a detail that you've just missed. He signed a consent form, didn't he?
Where's the form? He forgot.
This is Ralph's own tale. No one can corroborate this, of course. No one can.
Yeah. Why didn't Andy call me?
I suppose what makes it credible, Zoom, is that it's so unbelievable that it might even be true. You know?
Why didn't Andy call me?
Fantasy is sometimes even greater in terms of its unbelievability than the actual reality itself. Who knows? Why would he make this up? I don't understand. What is their headspace?
Why wouldn't Andy call me? Andy freaks out and calls me over shit all the time. Why wouldn't Andy call me and tell me, "Oh my God, the cops are..."
With these people, Zoom. I thought you were hated with these people.
No, I get along with Andy. I don't agree with what Ralph does. I think his show is getting dry and boring, and I've told him this multiple times, and he doesn't listen.
Yeah. Look, it's a whole shit. It's just a big shit show. I think clearly they shouldn't have streamed the CP or discussed the CP and clearly edited the CP as well. They shouldn't have done that, should they, Zoom? Do you agree with that? I know you have
I don't agree with any of the shit they did. I think all they did was they created a situation where they allowed the people that were actually committing the crimes to delete the evidence and get away with it.
Right.
They're not grabbing message IDs to give to the legal team at Discord so they can pull them out of the master server, because even though you delete Discord messages, they stay in a master server in in New York for like 12 months in case there's any legal claims, even after you delete them.
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't
No,
take any
it's
records of
just
that. Didn't archive any of the Instagrams. Didn't archive any of the shit. Any of the conversations. None of that shit was archived.
Well, I mean, look. Apparently, Warsy's own explanation is some porn star that they've befriended, some unnamed female, I should say, has the external folder. And
Yeah, that's a smart idea. That's the girl that makes all of her money by, basically pedderizing herself to her fans by pretending that she's a young girl being taken advantage of by her daddy or her older brother, or some priest or something like that. And most of her video content is her pretending to be a little girl and talking in a little baby voice. We're gonna listen to her, and she got that because she told the girl involved to download the child porn so that she could give it to her, so she could give it to the police. Which just telling this girl is enticing somebody to commit a crime, and then having her send it to you is enticing somebody with the intent to commit the transmission of child pornography over the internet.
Zoom, I saw you in Ralph's chat last night, and you leveled these claims that it was all a bullshit story that he was saying. The explanation he was providing was just a fantasy, was nonsense.
Yeah, it made no
has
sense.
he responded to? Has he replied to you or given you any sort of reaction?
He originally said that that it wasn't true, and then it was, why would I lie about this? Then he claimed a completely different story. Then it was, what happened was they came and they looked through everything and I signed a form, because he never brought up the form originally. If you go back and watch the stream from last night, he never says he signs a consent form until I started talking about it in the chat. Go watch the live chat review. When I bring this up, he starts saying, "Oh, I signed the form." When I listened to that original story, it was they sat down, they looked over his computer, they had a good laugh about cow and kiwi farms. She said, "What a bunch of spurgs," and they all laughed and left. And then I was like, "Well,
what the policewoman said? What a bunch of spurgs."
The policewoman
Is
said,
that a
"What a bunch of
verbatim
spurgs." That's what he said.
Quote, is that a full verbatim quote? Yeah.
Go watch it. He said that.
Amazing.
She said, "What a bunch of spurgs."
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
Go watch that recording.
I just don't understand why
sense.
anyone would make up a story about the police visiting them and then going and browsing 8chan together and then taking a trip to Kiwi Farms.
Who the
hell? How that clears them.
Who the hell would go on a trip to Kiwi Farms and 8chan with somebody in person? Who would do that? Who would say, "Oh, it's not me. It's a bunch of anonymous people on a forum, and this is going to clear me. Look at how many times they make fun of me and post pictures of my loose skin and fat belly. Clearly, I'm not doing this." Oh, those recordings of me talking about reviewing it?
I thought you were one of Ralph's capos now. I mean, you were going to meet him in Miami, is that correct? That was on the cards, was it not?
No. They said, "Do you want to hang out?" And I was like, "Nah." And then they were like, "You want to move in with us? We'll pay your rent for a few months." I was like, "Nah, I'm good."
Right. But you haven't... what I'm trying to get at here is Coach Red Pill thinks that Andy Warski sent you to ruin him, to go after him.
Nobody has to ruin Coach. He ruins himself.
Did you have a conversation with Andy Warski about going after Coach Red Pill? Did that happen?
No, I just don't like Coach. I think he's a fucking scammer. I don't like what he did with the fucking Debunking Economist blog, where he kept charging the fucking people on the blog like almost $10K, and how he was hiding money from his fucking business partner. Like, I think that's really scummy. And then this whole fucking book idea, the book that he originally told me and Andy and Ralph that he was on a book tour for in America, and that he was going to take time off the book tour.
Wait, what? Just a second. What? What, he told you this in a Discord, or?
Yeah, he told us this in a Discord. You can ask the people in the channel below us. They were all bullshitting with him about us going to fucking Tonka's to film a documentary before Josh got involved and fucking torpedoed the whole thing because he's a faggot. But at that point, fucking Coach was like, "Yeah, I'll take time off my book tour to go film." And I was like, "What fucking book tour? You haven't written a book in like 12 years, dude." And the last book that he wrote, the Acrobat book, it was literally just the exact same story that he wrote for a movie previously. I mean, this fucking Wilshire Boulevard book. It's the stupid movie that he made in Chile about a billionaire's daughter getting kidnapped, except it's in fucking L.A.
I've been sent a manuscript of the book, and the book is in fact Kino. It's amazing. It's the greatest novel ever written.
It's the same fucking story. It's the same. It's one of the fucking movies that he directed a long time ago. I forget the fucking name of it. It began with an S.
Zoom. So you didn't like Coach for all of his financial dealings. Did you know about these financial dealings while you were in Discords with him and talking to him?
Yeah, and I made fun of him for it. I mean, did you listen to him?
But you still wanted to like collaborate with him on like documentaries before Josh got involved. Is that correct?
No, they said they were going to use him for camera stuff, and he said, "I have to make back the money that I spent on the cameras because I'm running at a loss here." To which I found
Nick is Coach saying this.
This is what Coach said, and I found it a little alarming considering just a few months prior he had been bragging to Jeremy Hambley about how he had investments in the high seven figures. And that he was very rich and very wealthy. I also found it a little alarming that he claims to be an investment expert, but when you listen to chapter 2 of that book that he was explaining, it makes no sense. You know, why would somebody that's a day trader call down a bunch of people who do bond trading to watch the day trader get fired over losing 4 points on a stock when the 4 points are worth $1? And then talk about how this is a lesson for the bond traders that pretty much live comfortably because bonds mature over time. They're not really volatile like day trading stocks, especially short-term installments or short buys. And, you know, why would you give somebody that's, you know, not really that experienced in trading, why wouldn't you give them the power to do stop buy orders? Or set like, you know, a price point limit to, you know, if the point differential is more than, you know, 1 to 5 points, you know, the stocks will be sold and dumped automatically. That way you don't operate at a loss. The whole story makes no fucking sense.
Did you say that at the time to Coach's face?
Yeah, I said it. I said it live on the air. I was like, when he did that chapter 2, I watched the whole thing live on the air, and I said, this is all bullshit. I was like, there's no way in hell you're experienced with any kind of investment or trading the way that you're talking. They would not bond traders would not even be on the same fucking floor as the people that do day trading. They're completely different types of investments.
It's a strange one, isn't it? Because his whole narrative is that he fell out with Worski over a retarded business deal about gaining equity in this IBS thing that him and Ralph are doing right now.
They fell out with Worski and Ralph because he hit them up while they were still in Knoxville, and he said,
"Right, so
I think I deserve 1/3."
This is all new law to me, but I'll just give you Coach's take. Coach's take is that he fell out with Worski because of this, but he had no hard feelings. You know, he didn't want to carry on the business deals, but, you know, he had no hard feelings with these people. And then suddenly, you're being sent at him by Worski. That's what he said. You know, you're the attack dog that's been sent to him, you know, to dox his family, to dox his wife, to dox his Chilean bastards.
Yeah, that's not actually what happened. What happened is he tried to talk to them in Knoxville after being an asshole to Andy the entire week. And trying to like control them, like he tried to keep Andy from going out and drinking at the nightclub, and Andy had to like hop a table and jump over a fence to get away from Coach because he was being that fucking.
What? Oh, come on! You have to explain this. This sounds bizarre.
Well, Coach was acting like he was like their father, like he was. Oh, get in the door! You're gonna get arrested. Like he's on private property. The cop can't come on private property and fucking arrest Ralph. It's retarded. And then, well, he was on probation, and I saved his life, you see. And at that point, he owes me, okay? And, you know, it's like, fuck, shut the fuck up, Coach. You're full of shit. And then Andy told me that he kept being weird, and that he got all pissy at the bar because people called him old. And then he just started screaming faggot in public and acting like a retard.
Coach Red Pill?
Yeah, he was acting like a fucking idiot the entire time they were there. And then people.
So what you're saying here, Zoom, is that Coach Red Pill's sort of disassociation with these people was already made up. You know, the writing was on the wall for Coach. So regardless of what happened, Coach was never going to be involved with the Knoxville Kill Crew ever again.
Well, he was cool with them, but he was just acting fucking weird the entire week. And then he tried to get them to sign a contract, literally, to get them to sign a contract where he got 1/3 of all of the proceeds, any kind of profits, any kind of super chats, anything like that. He would get 1/3 of that, which he offered this to them after he put out that garbage trailer that looked like shit. And then
This is the fight in Knoxville, the documentary.
yeah, the documentary
You
that
know,
never even got
documentary.
finished. That never even got finished. Like I doubt he ever even attempted to put it. But then other people were complaining, like Feared, was it Feared Rake in the chat is saying that he tried to stop Andy from coming out at 4 a.m. to smoke a blunt with us. And apparently, Coach was continually trying to like keep people from having fun, keep people from getting drunk, people from doing drugs, and he was doing this over and over again, and people were getting annoyed with him. So then when he said, you know, I think I'm entitled to 1/3 because I'm bringing all the camera gear, they said, well, we could just rent it for that amount, and we're already bringing AG Luck and SoCal Chris. You know, I'm trying to help my friends make some money. They've been very helpful to me. I think that they deserve to get a piece of the pie too. They've been helping me with the channel. I want to help them. I want them to make money. This is about everybody making money, not just you, Coach. And Coach got pissed about it and said, well, then I'm not going to
come. Coach reckons he got pissed about it because he thought Andy was trying to take 2 shares.
I don't see how Andy was going to take 2 shares when he was going to specifically stipulate that SoCal Chris and AG Luck were splitting the other 25%. Because what Coach wanted them to do was he wanted them to get paid $1,000 a month to spend the entire month all day filming all of them having fun and not really doing anything.
Yeah, no, it's completely retarded, and I've said as much as many in the many streams I've done post Knoxville. Yeah, no, it's completely retarded. I think Coach's business advice is bizarre, and I think obviously Andy's on the ball when it comes to dealing with Coach in terms of business arrangements. I'd agree with that. Why would you pay? Why would you split it equity wise?
And why give him 1/3 of all the profits, 33% of the profits, for standing there with the camera and being retarded? Half the time he was in Knoxville, he was filming stupid shit that they didn't even want filmed, like Andy doing push-ups, or Andy shadowboxing, or you know them getting drunk and being stupid at a bar. Like they asked him not to film that.
Did you go to Knoxville? You didn't, did you?
Hell no, that was a fucking waste of time.
Where have you heard this intimate information? Did it come from Warski?
I was talking to Andy the entire time they were in Knoxville. He was telling me all of this shit about Coach was driving them nuts, about how fucking Josh, when he got banned from streaming, was spurging out and calling Ralph all day and annoying him when they were out trying to, you know, get drunk and have fun. And he was just like, you guys got to get me unbanned. What the fuck? Get me in touch with somebody. Because, you know, he claimed that he knew the admins, but he really didn't. And, you know, they would tell me about this shit. And Warsi would call me and, like, text me and tell me shit about, like, oh, fucking last night I was out. I was trying to get high. And fucking Coach was, like, blocking the door. And he was like, come on, Andy. You know, you don't need to go out, okay? You know, you're just going to get in trouble. You're just going to get in trouble, Andy. You don't need to go out. And he's like, dude, you're not my fucking father. If I want to go out, I'm an adult. I can go out. Well, what if you get arrested?
It sounds fantastic. It sounds like he was doing an IRL Coach Red Pill Kino.
I mean, it sounds funny, but to people that are trying to have fun, it's fucking annoying to have this fucking, like, 53-year-old boomer guy trying to tell you that you can't go out and have fun. It's fucking weird.
So, Zoom, what I'm trying to get to the bottom of here is, did you, during Knoxville, when you're getting these leaks in from Randy Warski, as it's happening, did you hear about Coach Red Pill instructing his girlfriend to abort his Chilean bastard?
I did not hear about that, or I would have been making fun of it.
Right. So, but I mean, this is the law that's come out recently, isn't it? That's what they've been saying.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past
and Ralph have been saying this.
I wouldn't put it past Coach. I mean, he's done. I mean, if you've seen his videos, he really fucking hates women, like really hates them. And I found it a bit weird why he hated them until I found out that he'd been accused of raping a woman in Dartmouth in 1993. I don't know if you know the lore on that.
Yeah, look, Coach is a fucking bastard through and through. We can all agree on that. He's got a colourful past, if you want to put it that way.
Well,
But
he handled
what
it
I'm
very
trying to
weirdly.
get at here, the bottom of here, is Coach's big qualm is that he didn't tell anyone about this aborted baby. He told Andy about his child that was in hospital, okay? And he told Andy about his Chilean bastards or something like that. But he didn't tell him about instructing a girlfriend to abort his child. And you didn't hear that during the time, even though you were getting these leaks during Knoxville.
I mean, I would have to ask, but yeah, at that point they were cool with Coach. It wasn't
No, but they weren't
way
that
after.
cool if they're talking about. They weren't that cool with Coach if they were shitting on him like as it was happening. They were saying he was a boomer.
They were being cool with him up until publicly, like you know what I mean by that. Like they weren't trying to fan the flames. They were just saying he's being a little bit annoying. He's being weird at the bars. He's calling people faggots. He's freaking out on people for calling him old and asking why he's at the bar and shit like that. And then it's
But
like,
soon, do you think they made the abortion up?
I honestly don't know. But
Yeah, and that's my opinion. I honestly can't say. I think there's.
But I don't know.
I mean, I was expecting a conclusive answer from you today. I mean, had you
I'd
said,
never heard of that
yeah,
before.
I was hearing from Andy Warski during Knoxville about this aborted baby, and I'd have gone, okay, Coach is lying. But it seems that I'm none the wiser. Really, there's more doubt now.
Well, I always take everything CRP says with a grain of salt because usually when you start to look into the shit CRP says, it doesn't add up. He claims to be a learned investor, very rich, but then he's freaking out over $1,800 in GoPro cameras. Nobody told him to spend that.
We've said as much on our This Week in Nectars. But the one thing that Coach does take issue with is this: did he instruct his girlfriend to abort a baby?
If he did, that's fucked up. I mean, the one thing that I find very weird and concerning about Coach is that, and I said this 4 or 5 days before it even happened. I said, Coach, why are you Coach started being a dick towards Andy, not about the money. Coach became an asshole towards Andy after Andy started getting into it with JF about JF saying, "Oh, it sounds like rape."
Now, this was my initial theory, right? Because JF's the only one that shills Coach now. He's the only one that shills Coach's Wilshire Boulevard and certain e-begging projects. So I initially thought that Coach decided to cut ties with Warski because he went after the one person that was shilling him and having him on his show.
And that's what I said.
But his explanation was, no, he went after Warski because you came after him and Warski sent you as an attack dog.
That's not what happened. What happened is Warski went after JF, and I started looking into JF, and I actually contacted his ex-wife's lawyer because she had hit up Andy, and we got the psychological analysis papers about his psyche eval showing that he has sociopathy and that he's fucked in the head and that he has herpes, and he gave it to his wife. Well, cheating on her with a lab student, which is why he really got fired from Duke. And he'd been lying about that. And it's actually a sworn signed affidavit with the state of North Carolina that his former lab assistant confirmed that he was fired from his job at Duke because he had sex with an underling. And at that point, I was like, okay, well, JF's lying about this. And then he's like, I started listening to the streams of him telling the story and how he had told Andy that he got into a fight with her father and that her father was the one pushing this, retarded girl away from him. But when you actually look at the court documents, her mother was the one applying for custody of her, not the father. And when you actually look and read the briefs and you read the stenographer's report, JF went to court and he was in court for all of about 10 minutes. The judge laughed at him, said, "You have no reason to be here," and then asked the district attorney to open up a criminal investigation case saying that JF took advantage of and took the virginity of a retarded girl. And there's actually an open case with the district attorney's office in Texas about JF. So I was like, JF, you shouldn't be calling people a rapist when technically you're being accused of raping a retarded girl. And the fact that you gave your wife an STD and you gave other people that you've had sex with an STD because you have herpes, and according to the report from the psychologist, the psych eval, he's made no attempts to get any kind of medical help for it. So he could be giving people STDs, which is a form of rape by American law. So I was like, JF, you've also been accused of assaulting several women in Canada from your own mouth and your own story. And I was like, so why are you calling Andy a rapist? So then Andy and I start going at JF. Not even a day later, Coach Red Pill has a problem with Andy, and he starts shit talking Andy. That happened way after the JF thing, at least a good 24 to 32 hours after that happened. And then I was like, well, Coach, it's very weird that you.
The one thing I will
Andy's
say,
spot.
dude, the one thing I will say to this, and it's perhaps the theory that's. Because I initially did come up with, okay, so Coach has cut ties with Warski because he's felt Warski has fallen out and attacked JF. But then I've attacked JF far worse than Warski. You know, and many people have seen my potato videos. You know, videos where I call him a potato fucker, a potato masher. You know, and we go after his exploits. Yet Coach seems to be, well, he's sending me his manuscripts.
Yeah.
He certainly doesn't seem to be sacred or interested in a relationship or maintaining a relationship
but does
with
he have
JF.
Does he have a business relationship with you? Is he on your show all the time, like he is on Andy and Ralph? Is he hanging out with you in real life and getting into business investments with you?
All I'm saying is, Coach associating with me in JF's eyes, I mean, that's gonna burn bridges for Coach.
Okay, then why did Coach burn bridges with Ralph after Ralph got into an argument with Josh, who Coach also does business with?
No, but you're missing the point. Because you're saying that Coach fell out with Warski because he didn't want to fall out with JF. Because JF attacked Warski.
Yeah, and what happened 3 days
Well,
after he backed him?
I've attacked JF. And so it doesn't really matter. The relationship between JF and
when
Coach
you attacked JF, was he in the process of getting ready to do a show all about fucking Coach Red Pill's book and shilling it?
Yeah. That whole week before, right? I was making potato videos.
Okay, and was he on your show regularly and actively doing business with you like he was with Ralph and Andy?
He wasn't doing business with me, no, but you don't understand, do you? Sorry, Coach Red Pill doesn't care about the relationship between himself and JF.
Then why switch sides that quickly?
Goldwoodson and sending me his manuscript.
Just because he talks to you doesn't mean that he wouldn't switch sides for JF.
But JF catching wind of him talking to Goldwoodson, who's made countless videos about his potato fucking, he clearly has shed the relationship between himself.
Yeah, but you're conflating your relationship with Coach Red Pill with Andy's relationship with Coach Red Pill. You and JF have never been best friends. Have you and JF ever been best friends? Have you guys ever run a show together? There's a lot more bad blood between Andy and JF than there is between you and JF.
Coach Red Pill wouldn't have cut ties with Warski over preserving his relationship with JF because he's let that go quite easily. You know, he's on other streams with people that have attacked JF. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, but he's already got what he wanted. JF shilled his book. You know, when I said, Coach, you're only doing this because JF's probably going to shill your book, he said in Ralph's Discord, that's not true. You don't know what you're talking about. And not even 3 days later, he was on a special stream shilling out his book and talking about how it was an amazing read. And that was after he fucking had dropped the whole Pinecone Gate thing and was fucking calling Andy a rapist and saying that he fucked whales. You know, it's just, at that point, it's all deliberate.
Do you follow the Pinecone? Are you a supporter of the Pinecone, the Moby Dick?
I knew her from Facebook, and she's a pathological drama whore who makes shit up. She said that my friend David Wu was threatening to rape a girl and had been threatening to dox her and harass her in real life.
Did you give Andy Warski this information prior to Knoxville?
Yeah, he knew about it. David was on the show, so was Kirsten.
Yeah, he still went ahead and fucked her.
And he still fucked her. I had no idea that he even fucked her because Andy was, according to him, was so embarrassed. He said that he was so embarrassed that he fucked her. He pretended like they never even met. Apparently,
how long after the intercourse did he contact you and say, I'm embarrassed?
A month later, he told when
Oh,
Coach dropped all of this. He apparently was a huge secret. He was so embarrassed he didn't want anybody to know that he fucked her. And he was on my stream on Stream Me, and I was talking to him. I'm like, dude, why would you lie about all this shit? It's so stupid. Because he was telling me that he didn't fuck her, and that they had no sex, and that it was just a random chick. And then slowly it was, oh, it was just a girl. I blew a load on her face, and then I sent her out the door. And then it was, oh, I actually fucked her. And then it was like this whole fucking drop of just, oh, I stole my sister's pills, and I was using coke the entire time that I was training, or I was using it a few times. I was getting drunk all the time, and I was looking for coke in Knoxville while Ralph was with me on probation. And I'm just like, Andy, why are you telling me this shit? Like, nobody needs to hear this stuff. So
I'm sorry, I'm just completely dumbfounded. these people are just horrendous. What do you think's the future for where this is all going? Because clearly, what do you think that Ralph's going to be visited by the police, or do you think he's just never going to be contacted?
This whole story just, it doesn't make sense to me, especially if people had sent the police clips of him talking about how he recently deleted his hard drive. At that point, reasonable doubt is out the window. They're going to say, well, why would you wipe your hard drive a few days after people start calling the police and saying that you downloaded child porn, because you guys are talking about reviewing it and collecting it so that you can report it to the police. And the way that you're explaining it, it sounds like you're planning to just go over all.
And Ralph is saying on his Twitter that he didn't wipe his hard drive after the CP stream. It was wiped 2 months before.
No, there's a whole fucking stream of him talking about how he recently wiped his computer. It's posted all the time on HN. There are fucking archives of him saying about how he just recently wiped his computer.
Are you still friends with Andy then, Warski?
I get along with Andy. I told him I'm not going to take him at his word because he lied, but I'm not going to just throw the dude under the bus because he didn't want to tell people he fucked a fat bitch. With Ralph, it's much worse because, Ralph tries to do shit like, I don't know, he doxes one of his fucking pay pigs and then blames it on me, even though I don't even know who the fucking guy is. He does shit like he asked for dispatch and Gunt Retort to be removed off of Stream Me and then blames it on me. And then when I show our chat logs, he's the one saying, are you down to get with me on this to get these fucking people off the platform?
And what did you say to that?
I said, I don't care if they stream as long as they add commentary. And then I was the one who contacted the admins and said, I think it would be fair if you just took them off the leaderboards and let them have their comfy stream and have fun. But no, Ralph wanted them off. And he was so angry about that even when I was mocking him, I had to stop streaming his stream where I was trying to read the news faster than him and show how he just stalls when he's going to stream. He fucking complained to the admins and told them to ban me too. Because I got a DM on Discord and an email about it to stop showing his content. Like, he was even doing it to me when I was just mocking him. Like, he told me that the Gunt thing was driving him insane, that it was bothering him, that it was getting to him. That when people fucking talk about his mom, it bothers
him. Has Andy Warski ever pitched to you about Ethan Ralph? Has he ever complained to you about Ethan Ralph?
No, he's always been cool with Ethan. I mean, Andy never says anything bad about somebody he's friends with until they fuck him over.
But when you've said something to him, because you've obviously shared your qualms with him if he's your best friend, has he not said you're lying?
No, he's said that he can understand my position, and Andy was in the chat with us. He saw fucking Ralph say, "I want these people gone." Like, Andy, I show everybody in my chat logs. I don't care. I show everybody every fucking email they ask to see too. I'm very transparent when I'm on the air about shit like that. I don't do what Ralph does, which is, I have it, but it's not here, and I'm going to be in Miami for a week, and I'm going to hope that people forget about the forum. But I'm not. I'm not going to forget that he said that he signed a form saying that he gives people consent to search his computer, but then he conveniently leaves it at home and doesn't bring it with him or have it with him or give it to his probation officer or even notify his probation officer that the cops were just at his house looking for child porn. I mean, does that sound normal to you?
How far did the talks and the conversations you had with Warski and Ralph go about moving in with them into Miami, into a flat, into an apartment?
Andy called me and said, "Hey, dude, we think it would be cool. We'd make a bunch of money. We'll have a bunch of fun. We'll make a ton of super chats. Like, would you wanna move in with us? Me and Ralph. We'll pay your rent for a few months, and you can hang out with us. And it'll be like the streamer house with Ice Poseidon, and we can all chill and make money." And I was like, "No."
Did they say like the streamer house with Ice Poseidon?
They inferred it that they wanted it to be like a
Right.
streamer house, and I was like,
Okay.
I'm gonna pass on that. I was like,
How long was the conversation to?
It was about 5 minutes, and I just said I'm gonna pass on that. And then,
What it was it largely one-sided? Was it like a pitch from Warski to you, Warski and Ralph to you?
Yeah, it was a pitch. They
How did it start? How did it start? Did they go, hi Zoom, we've got a great idea?
Andy called me and he was like, it would be cool if we could all meet, we could hang out, we could make a bunch of money on super chats and stuff. I think it would be funny. We could get drunk, and I'm like, I don't drink. And then they're like, well, how much do you drink on average? And I was like, I drink socially. I don't like getting smashed like you dudes do all the time. It's just not the headspace that I'm in. I don't like that shit.
Were any ideas floated apart from you living in like a Big Brother house?
No, it was just it would be cool if you came down and hung out with us, and that was about it. And I was like, nah, that's not something I want to do. I don't want to.
Did they not talk about splitting it up as a business arrangement and saying, oh, you have this amount of equity, Ralph will have another amount of equity, and Warski and his friends will have the rest?
Well, when Ralph was originally explaining it on stream, he said that he should get the most amount of equity because he's the biggest streamer on the site. But as we saw last week, I was number one, not him. But yet he ran to the press and told everybody he was number one.
So during this business pitch, where they're asking you to move in with them, Ralph says that I want the lion's share because I'm the biggest streamer.
Yeah.
How did Warski respond to this?
Warski didn't say anything about it. He just sat there while they talked about it, and then the next day, Ralph messaged me on Discord, and he was like, "Hey, did Andy talk to you about moving here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and pass. I'm not gonna give up my place to move down there with you guys, and have you guys drunk. Like, I have pets. I don't need drunk retards coming into my room when I'm trying to sleep. Like, I don't like that shit."
Zoom, do you get the impression that Ethan Ralph controls Warski or dominates Warski?
I think that they kind of balance each other out. Like, Ralph is always drunk and getting out of hand, while Andy's always, over focused on the possibility of things going terrible. I like to think of Andy as kind of like the Morty of the situation.
Has Warski mentioned anything to you about Geek Thulu? Because it sounds here that you've become Geek Thulu. You've become Andy's shoulder to cry on.
They're going to be doing Warpath. Him and Geek talk things out, and they're like friends again, I guess. And they're going to be doing Warpath after the Miami thing. Although, I don't know, now Andy's talking about climbing mountains in Japan and eating sushi. And
has he spoken to you about those ideas?
He told me he wanted to do like a trip out to Cali, and he says he wants to become like an in real life streamer. That's what he wants to become.
Right. And you were invited. You were given the golden ticket.
Yeah, I'll pass on that. I don't want other people involved in anything I do. Like, it's cool for people to come on and talk, share ideas, share opinions. Even if they hate me, I don't care. Everybody's entitled to their own opinions. If they want to come on and call me a fucking asshole, they should.
Did Warski float the idea to you about the CP stream?
No. I heard about the people that he talked to. I had talked to them the week before, and they were completely disorganized retards, and I wanted nothing to do with them. They told me that they had this huge ring that they were investigating, and that the minute that they said, yeah, and we've been downloading the proof so we can turn it into the cops, I said, nope, out of here. You guys are stupid. I'm not getting involved with you guys. You're too fucking retarded to get anything that you want to get. to the police. Nobody's going to take stuff that you download. You need to keep and document the sources of where it's being posted and report that to the police. It's fucking retarded. The idea of just downloading child porn so that you can turn it into the cops. I don't know if you know about this, but in the States, a really long time ago, I'm talking like 15, 20 years ago, a guy was literally walking through the desert in Nevada, found a fucking VHS tape. He puts the tape on, and on the tape there's a video of a child being raped. He goes, "Oh my god, this is disgusting." He takes it into the cops and he says, "I watched like 10 seconds of the video. I saw what was happening. I immediately stopped it, turned in the tape to the police. They fucking arrested him and put him in jail for child pornography. For finding a fucking tape in
But
the
Warski
desert."
didn't consult you then. Warski didn't consult you about doing the CP stream beforehand.
Obviously, he didn't consult me because I would have said, "This is a stupid
Has he
fucking
spoken
idea."
to you? Has he spoken to you after?
Yeah.
Like, has he spoken to you in the days since?
After that happened, I was on stream and I called him and yelled at him for about 40 minutes, explaining to him the way the law works and about how the way that things are being inferred and explained online and on that stream makes it sound like they're facilitating and trafficking the porn. It does not sound good. It sounds like they're enticing a minor to download child porn so that they can report it. The way that they explained it was poorly organized. The structure of the show was poorly organized. The presentation was poorly organized.
And how did Warski react to you sort of telling him facts?
He agreed.
He agreed?
Yeah, he said that it was his mistake, that he didn't think things through. Thanks for looking out. Thanks for warning him ahead of time. He felt really dumb about the way the show. He didn't actually think that the way that he was explaining it was coming off the way that it was actually being received. That this is really bad, that he hopes he doesn't get in trouble, that he specifically didn't download anything, that she sent him a video of a girl that's over the age of 18, just showing that, you know, there's content that's sexual and the thing that...
Zoom, you just said prior that Warski said he hopes he doesn't get in trouble. That's what he said to you.
Yeah, he was hoping that people wouldn't call the police and say that he had it on his computer when he didn't. Because apparently he gets swatted all the time, and with the whole Ian thing, like, he just doesn't want to deal with that shit.
So he didn't mention to you that Metro were writing an article?
No, I had no idea that Metro was writing any kind of article on them. I didn't think they did anything worth writing about, to be honest.
Why do you think Warski didn't just apologize?
He apologized to me, and he apologized to
apologizing to Zoom is different to apologizing.
He apologized to everybody watching that one stream where he talked about Kirsten. He said, "I'm sorry for lying. I'm sorry to everybody that watched it. I'm sorry to any of my fans that are watching. I'm sorry."
No, I'm talking about apologizing for the CP stream.
I don't know. I mean, he's an adult. If he doesn't want to listen and take advice, that's themselves. I told the same thing to Ralph. I told Ralph that your show is getting dry because you created and built an entire audience on drama, and now you want to act like you're too good to talk about it.
Did you have any contact with Ralph prior to the CP stream?
At that point, I wasn't talking to Ralph.
But you're talking to him now? Or like before you started saying this?
The last time I talked to Ralph was when Warsi called me to tell me that he has an American phone number now, and to text him on that instead of hitting him up on WhatsApp like I normally do. And then Ralph got on the phone and he said that he overreacted, that he was stressed out and panicked because of all the people giving him shit and all the people trolling him and all the Gunt shit, and that it was just all building up in his head.
All of the Gunt shit?
Yeah, all of the trolling, Dispatch and everybody fucking with him, that it had him all stressed and panicked out, and that he overreacted and freaked out on me, and that he was sorry, that he didn't mean to take it the way that it was taken, that he saw that I was just trying to give him sound advice. And all I did was point out the irony that not even a year prior, when he had Monday Matt on the show, he was shit-talking Monday Matt and saying that anybody that needs to be so fucking lazy that they need to pull up articles and read them live on the air are people that can't produce content. And not even a year later, he's doing it.
How stressed did Ralph sound then in your call, where he's talking about being triggered by the Gunt?
He sounded pretty stressed, and he was stressed. Like,
what did he say in relation to the Gunt memes?
That they were annoying, they were getting on his nerves, that he didn't like it. I mean, the word "gunt" was like banned in his chat. If you talked about "gunt" in his chat, you got banned. If you posted pictures of Nora or the "gunt" in his Discord, you got banned. And when he banned me, he did it really passive aggressively. Like I made a few jokes and I went to sleep. I wake up the next morning, I'm banned, and he's banned like over 30 people out of the chat and telling them all to fuck off and die. And then he had that fucking spurg out on
Did he
dispatch.
describe his emotional state when he looks at Gunt memes?
He did not. He did not go into detail, but it seems like it really.
He just said it was annoying.
Yeah, it was annoying.
And what was the timbre of his voice? Was he quivering or?
He seemed
crying.
He seemed like he was doing that growly stress thing that he does when he's really getting annoyed. He was just like, "All right, next caller, next caller."
What are your opinions on Gator, Zoom? The loyal friend.
You mean the high energy discount gym? I think he's a boring, unoriginal person that adds nothing to the show other than pushing a soundboard button. Most of his takes are boring. When he tells stories, they're highly unbelievable. When he tells stories about hot Latin girlfriends and fucking bitches in college, and then you see him and he's just like, 450-pound guy in a mask that he can't even fit around his face, and you're just like, come on, seriously.
Well, this is why I brought up Gator, because obviously Warski was giving you the live leaks, the hot intel coming out of Knoxville as it was happening. You were his lifeline. You were his call. Constantly, he was making trips to you, trips to your voice during Knoxville. Did he mention Gator at all?
No.
At all? He didn't mention that. Oh, we're being joined by a fatso in a luchador mask
Other than he's holding coach's cameras, no. I mean, what presence did Gator really have that entire time? Other than wearing a mask to intentionally draw attention to himself because nobody would have cared of who he was to begin with. I mean, what do you think the point behind that mask was?
Well, I mean, the point obviously was to not be doxxed, but I don't know if you've seen Cognificent or whatever he goes by, Cognitive Thought, but he did a video where he did mask, and it just comes across as incredibly autistic.
It does. What is the point of hanging out with a bunch of people in real life where the entire event is focused around Warski and you're wearing a fucking luchador mask in a bar full of adults?
But then he took the mask off, didn't he?
He took the mask off when he was on camera in front of everybody like it was some big reveal. Nobody gave a fuck who Gator was. It's not some Bane thing where it's like, nobody cared who I was, so I put on the mask.
Did Warski even register Gator at Knoxville? Did he even take notice of Gator?
I don't think anybody took notice of Gator other than to point
out. Even Ralph.
I think the only thing he pointed out was that Gator was a big fat guy and he was wearing a mask and he looked retarded.
No, but do you think even Ralph recognized his co-host, his loyalist pet?
I mean,
his manservant.
Did you see much of Gator? I mean, most of the fucking stream they kept him off camera. They tried to keep him off camera, but Coach doesn't know how to fucking handle a camera, and he kept showing Gator in his stupid fucking mask.
In your private conversations then with Warski and Ralph, have they ever mentioned Gator?
No.
They've never said when you're discussing ideas, oh, and we're going to get Gator in on this?
No.
Have they mentioned Zidane?
No. I've never heard.
Is there speculation? Is there speculation of where? Have you ever asked them where Zidane has gone?
No. I mean, I hope that the guy is doing well wherever he's, making money at. I think he works for some kind of logistics company.
But in your dealings with Ralph, Ralph has never mentioned I miss Zidane, and also one of my great friends is Gator.
Yeah.
Well, he's never said those words.
I've never heard that.
I'm amazed. I imagine Gator's crying right now into his luchador mask.
I've never heard any mention, and I know that there's people that are probably going to claim that tape about the desert thing isn't true. but it was actually on an episode of Nancy Grace. It's a transcript. I'll just pull it up on screen.
Do you think Ralph's going to engage with you now that you've said that his story is a lie?
I think Ralph does everything he can to hold on what few viewers he has, and to be honest, after what I saw last night, I'm kind of concerned that he could actually be botting his views.
Oh, you think Ralph's buying bots?
Did
you think he's?
Did you not see what happened last night?
Buying viewers?
Did you not see what happened last night?
To be honest, I was there, and then he said that Godwinson is trolling and running his mouth, and then he brought Dankula on, so I just left because I'd be bored.
No, there was this part where he lagged out and everybody was hitting the F button, and fucking right when that happened, he went from I think it was like 1,900 viewers down to like 1,300 viewers, like that in less than like 2 seconds. And then all of a sudden, within probably about 2-3 minutes, he's already back up to 1,800. Like, I highly doubt that it went out for that many people and the viewers just went like that. It doesn't just disappear like that. I mean, I was watching the little graph thing, and it just dropped like a fucking rock in the water.
So, Zoom, what's the worst thing you've said to Andy about Ralph?
That his
and then you're saying that he's like committing fraud by buying bots, by presenting himself as something that he's not for financial gain.
I mean, would you honestly believe that Ralph is an honest person? What's your take on this, Godwinson? Do you believe that Ralph is always as honest as he presents himself on his show?
No, of course not. I think you'd have to be completely naive to believe that. But I'm just interested in because you're saying that Ralph and Warski are very good friends, and you're saying that Warski, in all of his confident chats with you and all of these talks you've had into the wee hours of the night, Warski's never had a bad thing to say about Ralph. Yet you have a great litany of things to say about Ralph that you've expressed to Warski, and Warski's always remained silent, or sort of agreed with you, or sort of nodded.
Well, you can agree with somebody on their points and not attack the person that they're criticizing.
I don't know. If you're ragging my best friend, I'm going to say I'm going to mount a defense for my best friend. I'm not just going to be mute.
Yeah, but there are certain points that you agree with. Like I told Warski, hey man, don't you think that Ralph's show is getting really lazy and he's phoning it in? And he said that he's talked with Ralph about how the show is getting kind of lax and how he shouldn't be attacking his pay picks. Because that's what he was doing. I mean, at this point, Ralph is rapidly approaching Baked Alaska. Like, you remember what happened with that. And, I mean, Ralph built his entire, boost into streaming on Baked Alaska. So I think it's kind of fitting that, the finale, that candle that shed a brief but gentle light before it gets blown out, could end with the same kind of implosion that Baked had.
But Ralph, he's always been sort of persona non grata for Warski to sort of talk about. He's never going to shit talk Ralph, even to people he's talking to into the wee hours of the long nights about his intimate, deep personal feelings. He's never going to shit talk Ralph to you.
I mean, if he was going to shit talk Ralph, he'd shit talk him in person. But I've never seen him.
I don't know. I just don't understand why. You clearly, as I say, have lots of things to say about Ralph, and why Warski wouldn't defend Ralph.
Because Warski, just like Ralph, they base most of their talking points and most of their opinions on what they see from the chat. A big thing that was always said by Plate Gang, which drove Ralph nuts, was that Ralph is one of those 56%er kind of guys, where he'll have an opinion that this person is great, this person is perfect, this person has done nothing wrong. But if 56% or more of the chat are saying, hey, this person's a piece of shit, there's a huge shift in Ralph, and all of a sudden his entire view of the person has changed.
And you've said that to Warski, have you?
Yeah.
This sounds like a well-boiled take.
And that's exactly what Ralph is like.
And you said that to Warski?
Yep. Just
And he
look,
agreed with you.
Yep.
Did he agree with you?
Yeah, he did agree with me. Just look at how Ralph was with Josh. He defended Josh. He said Josh was a good guy. Everybody was over Josh. And all of a sudden, we start posting shit about Josh, and everybody in his Discord chat starts shit talking Josh, starts trolling him in the Discord chat all the time. Every time he talks, they tagged a little pedo thing for the fucking reactions under him and shit like that. And then eventually, Josh leaves the server because he won't have him on the show anymore. Well, then all of a sudden, fucking Ralph just starts taking pot shots at him on Kiwi Farms. That's how Ralph is. He doesn't take his own opinion. He takes the opinion of what the chat is, but at the same time, he doesn't respect what the chat wants. You don't build. This is the same fucking thing that happened with Tonka.
So when you said this to Warski, he agreed with you. What was his agreement like? What did he say in that agreement?
That Ralph needs to calm down. That he needs to, think about what he's doing. I mean, Warski's a very straightforward person. I'm pretty sure he's had this conversation with Ralph himself.
Have you ever brought up Ralph's alcoholism?
No, because everybody knows he's an alcoholic. He can't help alcoholics.
No. But has Warski ever acknowledged that Ralph drinks a lot?
No, I think that they drink equally. I think that they both get drunk and have fun, and the way that Warski sees it is Ralph's just having a good time. I don't think he sees it as Ralph having alcoholism. But Coach was the one that was saying that Ethan was drunk in the morning and was drunk all these other times, which really gives you a startling view at, maybe Ralph's alcoholism is more than just, I'm having a few drinks like Nick Urquita does at night. Maybe it's he's drunk all the time and he's just not thinking logically, because, when you start to drink like that all the time, it starts to really affect the way that your brain works.
Have you said this to Warski?
No, I don't talk about everything to Warski.
Surely you must have discussed Warski's relationship with drugs, especially during all of these intimate conversations you've had.
I was the one that called him out on my show about lying about doing the drugs, because he had told me and most of his chat that he was completely sober, and then he admitted to me that the logs showed that he was doing coke, and then it was okay, well, I told you I did the coke the one time, but then he says multiple times in the chat, I did coke here, and it's like, all right, so I had fun every once in a while, so what? I don't need to tell you everything. And I was like, you know what, I can give you that point. You don't really need to tell everybody your business, but your audience might have felt that it was a little bit disingenuous that you weren't actually being honest about being sober the entire time. And all Tonka did was take that and use it for a small little victory lap and say, see, I told you guys he was a cokehead. And that's the problem when you keep shit like that from your audience, and you keep shit like that from people that trust you on your word at that point. Your enemies will use it and try to build the case against you as showing you as a non-credible person and a piece of shit.
Right. And your private conversations with Andy Warski have been him denying that he takes drugs?
He told everybody he was completely clean at that point, that he wasn't doing any drugs and he was focusing on training.
No, but I mean, in his personal interactions with you,
I was under the impression that he was completely sober the entire time, and he actually apologized to me on the air about that.
So how shaken were you then when you found out that he was snorting lines off Moby Dick's arse at Knoxville?
I wasn't shaken at all. I don't really care. It's a dude on the internet. I was just more like...
He lied. He lied to you in confidence.
That's the only thing that I didn't like, was that he couldn't have been honest about that. And then he explained that he was embarrassed about fucking the whale because she's fat and ugly, and that he was just embarrassed. He didn't want people to think less of him. And I was like, well, now they're going to think even more less of you because you weren't honest to begin with.
So, on a sort of ratio, how much Zoom advice, does Andy actually take on board? Because it sounds like he doesn't take anything that you've said.
They don't listen at all. I give him and Ralph advice all the time. They don't listen. They go do their own fucking thing, and I don't
understand why they talk to you for hours on end in confident, private discords, via voice into the wee hours of the night, if they're not going to listen to you. Why are they doing this?
I don't know. I guess they're just a glutton for punishment. It's like you keep telling people, hey, you keep going this way, it's going to blow up in your face, and then they don't listen, and it blows up in their face, and then they're like the equivalent of the dude riding the bike and putting the stick in his wheel, falling over, and blaming somebody else. That's what Ralph keeps doing. He keeps
do you think it's a good idea
blaming Cow.
Do you think it's a good idea them doing IBS IRL that they're doing at the moment? Do you think that's a good idea?
No, I don't think that they have any concept on how to run IBS in general. I mean,
So if you were advising Warski, a friend that you talk to quite a bit, what would you advise him to do for his future?
I told him this the other day. If you're going to do in real life streaming, stop fucking showing people where you're going. You do this.
No, but
constantly.
you've said that he shouldn't be IRL streaming regardless. But what do you think his future should be then, if it's not going to be IBS
I think
IRL?
I think the best thing for him was the Warpath thing that he was doing. People enjoyed it. They liked watching the
What
videos.
you think Andy's best timeline is allying himself with Geek Thulu and carrying on that?
No, not
shenanigans?
geek, just doing his own thing. Playing games,
Right.
having fun. That's what people like watching him doing. They like
Right.
seeing him. They like hearing his takes, having him come on shows sometimes. Most of the time it's just to make fun of him, but that is where he's at his most entertaining, is where he's making his own content and having fun. Same thing with Ralph. All of his content should be based around reporting drama and shit like that. You don't build an entire show and an entire brand and an entire audience on reporting drama and reporting different things and interactions and fights between YouTubers and being kind of like the NBC nightly news of the Kumite. And then right after that, you're like, well, we're going to be a news show now. And we're just going to talk about the news. And I don't have any format for my show. I don't have anything planned out. I'm just going to throw a couple tags that I saw in the Google News thing in the tagline. And we're going to read the articles live on the air without really understanding what the hell the article's content is.
No, I mean completely that, 100%.
And that's all he is
Zoom,
now.
You work for a living, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
Have you ever mentioned to Andy that perhaps it might be wise to get a job?
Yeah, but I think Andy is
right.
He's
now
to
this
the point
is
where
interesting.
he can break the middle ground.
So when you say, "Oh, get a job, Andy Warski," what does he say?
Well, I don't say get a job, Andy Warski. It seems like you're trying to misinterpret what I'm saying.
No, but I'm just saying, as you're someone that works. You work for a living. You bring home bread and butter, I assume, and you probably earn your money in quite a hard way. I don't know what job you do, but you probably work long hours. You probably are proud of being a worker.
Well, with
correct?
Andy, he sees it as this is his job, and he breaks the middle ground. So he's at a point where he
But
can
you've never
pay his
never
bills.
said to Andy that. You've never said to Warski, "Oh, I'm proud of being a person that's employed and has a real job, and maybe it's best for yourself. It would offer you more security or stability as a friend if you were to get a job." Have you said that to him?
Well, how old is Andy right now? Is he like 30, 31?
I don't know. You're his friend.
I don't know his exact age. I'm thinking he's in his 30s. At this point, YouTube might be a thing that he could do for maybe another 5-10 years before he's kind of dated himself out, and at that point it's
have you said
what
that
are you
to
gonna do?
Have you
No,
said this to him?
I don't have
Yeah.
deep personal conversations about life with the guy. He calls me in vents every once in a while.
Right. But you've never once thought to say, this isn't going to last a long time.
I mean,
Maybe have a backup.
I assume that as an adult he would realize that fame is not a thing that could last very long. Taking Tonka and Ralph for example, look at how big they used to be and what they are now a year later.
Well, I mean, Zoom, you're Warski's friend. Do you think he's retarded?
No, I just think that he makes a lot of bad decisions and he hasn't really gotten much good advice in life. So he just continues to repeat the same mistakes.
But do you think, I mean, you're offering him good advice, would you say? I mean, you seem to be proud of the advice you're giving to Warski.
At the end of the day, people have to make the decision.
No,
for
but
themselves.
I mean, look, you're giving him good advice, aren't you? In your own words.
Dude, you can show people the door all you want. Doesn't mean they're going to open it and walk through it. At the end of the day,
so I mean, how many Zooms have there been in Andy's life? How many people have tried to give him good advice?
I'm sure a lot of people have tried to give him advice. I mean, even Coach said that he was trying to give Andy advice. I don't know what kind of advice he gave him, but that's from Coach's own perspective. But I've given Andy plenty of advice.
And Coach Red Pill saying to Andy, "Don't do drugs." Was that good advice or bad advice?
Oh, that was good advice. It seems like you keep trying to steer the conversation towards directly Andy. Do you have some kind of beef with Andy?
Well, it just sounds like you're his best friend. You know, you're the one that said you have these private conversations with him in confidence. So it seemed like a good angle to go down. Especially as Coach Red Pill is also saying that there's some weird connection between you two. Um, he sends you on him like an attack.
No, I mean, I told Andy the other day when he was threatening dispatch, I'm not your fucking attack dog. I'm not just going to go after dispatch because you're having a disagreement with him. I don't work that way. But, I just, I don't know. I see the way that Ethan acts, and it doesn't make sense to me the majority of the time. A lot of the stories that I hear, I'm just like, come on. I felt the same way when I heard the story about fucking Coach saying that he saved Ethan's life. It's like, that was wildly exaggerated, and this whole CP thing has really blown up in their face. I'm really glad I passed up on that when that person asked me if I wanted to get involved because holy shit, like that article from Metro was not too well, and it didn't look too good for them. It was pretty bad optics, and I haven't fucking even talked to either of them since I saw the article get posted. I mean, I just I don't know, that article didn't make them look really good in the limelight.
Zoom, are you familiar with PPP's anus?
Yeah, I saw screenshots of that shit all the time. Um, I tried to watch one of his videos and I turned it off in like less than 10 seconds because I don't know, I just can't take him seriously.
Yeah, but you can't take me seriously. You can't take anyone seriously in this entire shit.
I mean, I usually don't.
We're all brainless.
I just look for I just look for people to make asses of themselves and then do commentary and laugh about it.
So I assume you're going to be doing lots more commentary on Warski and Ralph then.
I usually just point out the fact that what they're doing is retarded and laugh about it and try to give them advice, but they don't really fucking seem to listen. I mean, I told Ralph, look, you're alienating your fan base because you built your fan base on drama, and then you say you're too good to go back to the drama, and fucking Baked Lasky did the same fucking thing.
Well, he said that to you in person, has he? He said he is too good to go back to drama.
He said that to his own audience. We're not going to be a drama show anymore.
No, but I mean, did he say this to you in confidence as well? Because you said that he called you and said that the Gunt memes were annoying him, and he sounded.
Well, no, Andy called me, and then Ralph got on the phone and apologized for overreacting and said that he was just stressed because of all this shit with people fucking with him and restreaming him and the gun thing, and that it was bothering him. And then me calling him the mundane Matt of Stream Me really bothered him because he didn't feel that his content was getting that stale. And I'm like, it is though. Like you've gotta realize when people are telling you something, it's not always to hurt your fifis, it's to tell you the truth. And a year ago you're mocking people who read the news and saying that they're boring and unoriginal, and then you're doing it. Not even a year later, it makes you look hypocritical in a way. It makes it look like.
Do you think you're ever going to meet Warski and Ralph in person? Do you think that's ever going to happen?
I mean, they said they were coming up to New York, but it's like the way that they act, from the stories that I've heard from people that have hung out with them, like Andy's fun to hang out with and Ralph's fun to hang out with, but then when they get drunk, they act really retarded. And I'm just like, oh, I don't want to deal with that retardism.
So what you're saying is you're not going to be meeting them IRL?
No, I would not hang out with those people. I mean, like, Andy's a nice dude, but like, if all they're gonna do is just get drunk all week and be idiots, I'll pass on that.
So, do you not believe Andy when he says he's sober and he's gonna climb Mount Everest?
I've told him I'm not gonna believe him at his word because he lied, and it's nothing against him, but if somebody lies about something that ancillary once, twice, 3 times, they keep it from everybody. I'm not gonna believe them after that point.
What else do you think Andy Warski is lying about?
I don't know, to be honest. I mean, he's
agreeing with Ralph's story, isn't he? The cop story that makes no sense. He's agreeing with that, isn't he?
I don't believe he has.
Like, he's not come out against it and said he's lying.
I just find it really weird that all of this happened and Andy didn't mention any of it when he texted me the other day about something regarding a streaming platform thing. And he texted me and we were talking, and this is before Ralph even reported it. and he never once said like, "Yo, what the fuck happened? The cops came." Like, that's just so strange that Andy.
So do you think
was sitting there
Worski's
live
lying
streaming
about this?
I
Do
don't.
you think Andy's lying about?
I can't say that Orski's lying because I haven't seen him say anything. If I haven't seen somebody say something, I can't report it. If I haven't physically seen it or heard them say it, I can't say for a definitive answer.
People are saying that he retweeted Ralph's story.
Well, retweeting it doesn't mean that you corroborate with it. It's very strange that Andy is out on live stream riding around on go-karts when Ralph's getting his computer search for child porn.
What? So you think that Ralph could perhaps be lying to Worski as well?
I mean, how would Worski know if it's true or not? Worski wasn't there. Neither was.
So you think
anybody
Ralph
else.
is lying to Worski about this?
Yeah. How would Worski not react?
You
to
don't
this?
think Andy's in on the lie? You don't think Andy's story?
I don't think Andy knows any better. He's taken Ralph at his word. I mean, come on. Does that story make sense to you? You know how Andy is. You've been talking about him with me for the past 20 minutes. I'm sure you have enough experience with Andy to know that Andy wouldn't be riding around go-karts and having a fun time at the arcade if Ralph came to him and said, "Hey, bro, the cops just came to my house and they're going through my shit looking for CP about the other stuff. You better look out. They're going to take a clone of my phone now." Andy would be freaking the fuck out. He'd be calling everybody. He'd be on Twitter going, "Oh my god, this is so crazy. The cops just showed up at Ralph's house." He would be freaking the fuck out. You know that. You know how Andy is. He would be all over Twitter, all over social media. "This is bullshit. We were trying to help people." Look at the way that he reacted to the Metro article. He would react the exact same way if this actually happened. He would be all over the place trying to damage control.
During that stream, Ralph is saying that they were contacted, as they were go-karting as well, by this Metro journalist. That whole day, or for a couple of days prior, the Metro journalist was trying to get a hold of them.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Worski said, "This guy's coming after me," and Ralph said, "Oh, I've got these DMs as well," but he just ignored them. So, I mean, it was on the cards, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, if this Metro thing they knew was happening, what do they honestly expect's gonna happen from that? When you refuse to answer the reporter and answer any of their questions, they're just gonna assume that you're just okay with whatever they write. I mean, if you're not gonna respond to the reporter or give them the respect to give them an answer, you deserve it.
Do you think Worski was go-karting as a form of therapy? As a form of denial?
I think he was go-karting as something to do while in real life streaming, since he can't go to McDonald's anymore because the black people will attack him.
Do you think he was fucking go-karting? Are you fucking serious? Are you out of your mind? Everybody's falling asleep, Zoom. I'm sorry. This guy is is he going go-karting for fucking
Shh. It's okay, Roxo. Calm down, dude. I know what Godwinson's trying to do. He's trying to, trap.
What am I trying to do, Zoo?
Trying to trap me in something, but it's not working.
What's there to trap you with?
You're trying to get me to shit talk somebody so you can frame it and fucking attack them with it.
I don't know. You've shit talked them quite a bit. I mean, it's been fantastic. You've been quite honest with your answers, apparently.
Yeah, I tell the truth. I don't know. You keep trying to frame this and circle it back around. I understand your questioning style. It seems like you're
I just
trying
want
to lead me somewhere.
I just want you to lay out your hypothesis now of.
Well, what's your game in
go-karting. Worski is go-karting, yeah?
I don't think anybody cares
and Ralph
about...
decides to escape and then invent this story about the police visiting him and browsing 8chan and then taking trips.
That's a hard leap. Escape? I don't know how you got there. Ralph was already back at his house at that point. Worski went out go-karting with SoCal Chris and AG Luck, and they were at Walmart and everything. And at that point, they were all streaming, the three of them. I didn't see Ralph at all at that point. So, I don't know how Worski go-karting has to do anything with.
Well, you think that Ralph is lying to Worski?
I don't get how Worski could go out and go-kart and be perfectly okay with everything and act like nothing happened, and seem visibly completely distressed at this point. while riding a go-kart. Like, you know that he would be upset. You know that he'd be screaming. He'd be spurging out. He'd be on Twitter freaking out. You know, that's how Andy is. Andy would be defending Ralph. He would be pushing the narrative that this happened, that it's fucked up, that Cal's gone too far. He'd be doing the same thing that he did with Ian. With Ian calling the cops to him that it's fucked up, that it's a lie, that it's not fair, that it's too far. Why wasn't Andy doing any of this when this happened? Why wait until Ralph is on the show and then he casually drops this, oh, well, the cops were here? Why are you just casually dropping that?
Zoom, what do you think Andy will do when he finds out that Ethan Ralph is lying about this story that makes no sense?
I don't know. I don't know, actually, but I would definitely pressure Ralph to show the actual paper. I would like to see.
Look, do you think that Worski will sort of roll with it and go, "Oh, okay," or do you think he'll go, "Oh, that's lies. I'm going to call you out on that"?
I mean, Worski usually calls people out when they lie. He did it to JF. He's done it to his other co-hosts. You know, if they lie, he's going to call them out on it. And you know,
so if you can definitively prove that Ralph's story makes no sense, do you think that Worski's going to be going after Ralph?
You know, at that point, I feel like Andy would get annoyed with Ralph, and he would probably tell him, like, you know, why are you lying? You're making me look bad.
All right, Zoom. It's been fantastic. Bye, I suppose. I don't know what else. What else do you want me to ask you? How is your life at the moment? Are you happy?
What kind of stupid fucking question is that?
I'm finding it a bit weird that Worski is saying that he spoke with the cops. How was Worski talking with the cops when he was go-karting on live stream? When did Worski get a chance to talk with the cops when he was on live stream? Actually, I think I should call him and ask him that.
Can you do this on stream?
Ask that question instead of was he go-karting for fucking therapy?
But was he go-karting, Zim? Was he go-karting?
Let's call him.
He's going to call Worski. This looks fantastic.
You make Brit Bonds look bad.
30 minutes of my fucking life back for hearing this fucking retarded Eeyore. You have the answers, Zoom. You have the answers. Do you know this, Zoom? Yeah, he fucking left. Fucking homo. Dude, Zoom needs a fucking medal for listening to this guy.
Andy's not picking up. I just find it weird. Hold on, let me text him.
Hey Zoom, what kind of toilet paper does Andy use? Also shampoo, I would like to know these intimate questions. Have you asked him these things?
I don't see how Worski could have talked with the cops when he was on live stream the entire time. When this happened, Worski was on live stream, and he was riding around on go-karts on live stream when this happened. How did he talk with the cops? Andy's saying this on Discord. He's saying that he talked with the police. He's saying it on Twitter,
too. You drive a
too.
go-kart with one hand.
You know, hold on. He's saying it right here. How, with the rewrite and the fact that I already spoke with the cops, how did you speak to the cops, Andy? When this happened, you were live on stream with AG Luck and the other guy, and you were riding around go-karts and walking around on stream for 4.5 hours. At what point did you ever stop to talk to the police? The only time I ever saw you pause was when you were trying to fix the TTS thing. And that was it. That was the only time that you ever stepped away from your stream for more than a second. And you never at any time, you know, stopped for more than, 5 seconds during that entire stream. So how did you have time to talk to the cops? Did you freeze time for a minute and call them? I mean, what's the story with this? I got to hear the story from you directly. I want to know how you talked to the cops somebody that's there on vacation in the attempts to get a work visa so that you can live stream in real life at the exact same time that Ralph is talking to the police in Richmond and having his mother's house turned over looking for CP, where they're also saying they're okay with him having drugs on him while he's on probation. That's what's not, it's not copacetic to me. Did the police go go-karting with them? Did they send their special go-kart cops to pull you guys over while you were going around in the figure 8 thing? He's saying that he spoke with the cops already and that they spoke during that time. Ralph never mentioned this. Ralph said this on live streamer, so he said that that the cops had come earlier in the day and they had sat. I'd pull it up and play the clip, but he'd fucking copy strike me, like they did to dispatch the other day. They called Ralph when they were in D.C. They got back 8:30. The cops were there. So then Ralph did a show around 10, explained the whole thing. So, I don't know. I'd play it. I'd play the whole story if somebody got me the timestamp, but I don't know if Ralph would be bitter and copyright strike me or some shit like that. Does anybody have the exact timestamp for that stuff? Because I would love to hear the story again. Anybody got a clip of that? I want to hear the fucking story where Ralph tells the police that they were there. Anybody got a clip of that? Anybody got a clip from that? Maybe T Clips has it. Let's see on T Clips channel. Is that the exact timestamp? All right, let's listen.
Now, when I came home last night, before I got home,
okay, let's listen to this.
I had received a call that a couple detectives from the Richmond police had come by my house. And if you watched the DC stream last night, you don't see me very much for the last hour because it kind of took me out of the mood of the whole IRL streaming. Because it was like, wow, these Spurgs have really, seeped over into my real life at this point, and now what the fuck, police are coming by my house, and I was just like, all right, fuck it, I want to get back home. So if you watch the last hour, you'll notice I'm not on camera that much because it's just like, oh fuck, this is bullshit. But when I got home, around 8:45, and I was already gonna probably postpone the stream. But I got home around 8:45. Now, this is not the apartment. I have another home, too. And a car pulled in right behind me. And I was like, okay, well, this is the police. I've had dealings with police before. I know this is how the police operate. They roll in right behind you. So I got out of my car. A female detective walked up. And she said, hey, I came by earlier. I'm with the Richmond police. And I want to talk to you about a few things. You're not in trouble. Don't worry about it. But I just wanted to...
So she just pulled up behind him. No announcement, not letting him know that the cops are going to be there. They make no attempt at all to tell him ahead of time that, hey, we know you're on probation. We didn't bother to let your parole officer know that we're coming to meet you. Never at any point did the Richmond police think that it would be a smart idea to contact somebody that's already on parole. So, and they never let him know, hey, we're going to get there right as you get there. They just pull up on him. So it's very strange that they didn't pull up on him with the probation officer. They should have contacted his probation officer. They should have known that he was already on parole. They would have ran his rap sheet and seen that he was arrested previously. they would have bought the probation officer, and they wouldn't have sent a woman too, given the fact that he has a history of violence against cops. So it's very strange.
Kind of clear up a few things with you. I said, yeah, I think I already know why you're here. And she said, wait, well, why do you think I'm here? And I said, well, people called, trolls on the internet called you and said that I had child porn. And she said, well, how did you know that? And I said, well, they publicly posted the phone call that they made on an image board called Cal on 8chan. And then I played her a little bit of this.
No, that's just common practice. If they have somebody that has just been arrested and did time in jail for attempting to assault an officer while intoxicated, why would they send out a lone woman to just talk with him privately alone in the middle of the night and pull up on him? They would have sent her there with a partner so that they could both get an even take, and they would have asked questions. It's very strange that they would just send her out there, a lone woman by herself, with somebody that has a history of attacking cops. So he just explained a woman detective got out of the car. Where are all the other cops? And I thought an FBI agent was there too. He just said a lone woman.
This is not the apartment. I have another home too. And a car pulled in right behind me. And I was like, okay, well, this is the police. I've had dealings with police before. I know this is how the police operate. They roll in right behind you. So I got out of my car. A female detective walked up, and she said, hey, I came by earlier.
He just said, got out of the car, female detective walked up. Women cops aren't going to pull up on a guy completely alone that has a history of attacking cops, and they wouldn't send a woman either. So at this point, I'm Xing it out. That's not general process with approaching somebody that has a history of attacking cops. And where are all the other cops? Just one woman shows up? This is bullshit.
I'm with the Richmond.
In the Richmond area,
and Ghost.
Green, whites and admitted.
Argues that's a lie, and I didn't have any child porn. And she's like, look, I don't even care if you have. It goes on. It's like 8 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole call.
Now listen to this.
I only played 2 or 3 minutes for her. And at that point, I said, well, I didn't admit to any drug use. That's a lie, and I didn't have any child porn. And she's like, look, I don't even care if you have drugs. That
right there. You're telling me that a fucking cop came up to your house with suspicion that you could have child porn on the computer, and she said, I don't care if you have drugs on you while you're on probation? Are you fucking kidding me? Let me just listen to that again.
I'm not going to play the whole call. I only played 2 or 3 minutes for her. And at that point, I said, well, I didn't admit to any drug use. That's a lie, and I didn't have any child porn. And she's like, look, I don't even care if you have drugs. That's not why I'm here. I said, yeah, I understand. I know you have to check these things out.
I don't even care if you have drugs. That's not why I'm here. He's on probation. If he's under suspicion for a crime, they would have called his probation officer and brought them with him. They would have said, he's being reported for having drugs, he's being reported for having child porn, you have to come and represent him. It's just weird.
And she said, well, why would somebody do this to you? And I said, well, they think it's funny. And I literally pulled up 8chan Cow and showed it to her. I said, they literally sit in this thread all day and think of ways to fuck with us. And she said, yeah, I know a little bit about it. I said, the whole stream's up. She said, we had got sent clips, like little snippets out of the stream. And I said, yeah, the whole stream's posted if you want to go listen to it. She said, yeah, I actually did. It was on a place, something called Kiwi. And I go, Kiwi Farms. Obviously I already know what it is. And she said, yeah, Kiwi Farms. We started talking, and just, like, she was nice. I mean, there was no problems whatsoever. And she said, look, I just want to get this cleared up tonight. I think it's probably bullshit. But let's just get it cleared up tonight so I don't have to, so we can just, I can report back and say there's nothing up.
So at this point, The cop says, I checked out Kiwi Farms. I checked out Cal. At this point, she hasn't even been in the house more than, 5-10 minutes? He shows her some clips from his stream, and she says, this sounds like bullshit. She never at any time follows normal law procedure, gets out a forensics kit, starts looking through his computer. No, she just takes a person that is a felon that's on probation at their word and says, it's okay, I don't care if you got drugs. It's alright. I've seen it, I've heard the snippets, I checked it out on something, Kiwi something. Yeah, Kiwi Farms. Yeah, you were definitely on the farms, right? Yeah, I checked that forum out. It seems like they're a bunch of spurgs. It seems like bullshit. I just need to, cross the T's, dot the I's. That's all I need to check everything out. Sounds okay. So let's listen to the story continue.
And I said, sure, okay. And she said, if you can just let my partner, her partner is actually FBI agent. This is like a task force.
You hear that right there? Her partner is an FBI agent. The FBI operates independently. They would never partner up with a fucking local police force in Richmond, Virginia, unless they were working on actively arresting a criminal and they set up an intermediary task force to track the criminal and arrest them. That is the only time. There is no way in hell a cop from the Richmond Police Department showed up with an FBI agent partner. What the fuck is this? They work together, but they don't have an active partnership like that. An FBI agent's going to show up in their own shit with their own fucking car. They're going to show up in a fucking Richmond police car and get out and be like, yeah, we're in this task force together. That's not how the task force fucking work. I know how they work. They're not going to be local partnerships. They're not going to show up in the same car. They have their own fucking cars. I just called the fucking FBI agent live on the air, and they said that was bullshit. You're going to tell me that this guy didn't come up? You don't think that there's fucking something called procedure, especially when approaching a suspected criminal? That the FBI agent himself wouldn't have approached him first and said, hello, I'm so-and-so with this field office? Yeah, they let the fucking cop pull up on him first? Come on. The cop wouldn't have been allowed to pull up on him. If the FBI was involved at that point, they had jurisdiction. They wouldn't have sent the cop. They would have sent the fucking agent. They would not have showed up in the same fucking Richmond PD car. Oh, what's up? I'm a detective with a special task force. This is my partner. He's in the FBI. They wouldn't have sent a fucking woman who's about to approach a suspected unsub who has a history of assaulting police. Come on.
And she said, if you can just let my partner, go through your phone and your PC, we'll just clear this up tonight. And I said,
right there. Let my partner go through things? He doesn't have to let anybody go through anything. He's on probation. He has no fucking choice at that point. They could do whatever they want. They don't need to ask him for permission. They could just take it.
I said, yeah, sure. And I signed a release form. They grabbed my phone. Well, they didn't grab it. I handed it to him. And after her partner pulled up, and he...
Wait a minute. Her partner just pulled up? What? I thought he was always there. So she pulls up first. She says, I gotta call my partner, who is also in the FBI at the same time that he's at our fucking, our special task force. And they didn't call his probation officer at all? They didn't think to know, they didn't think to ask the probation officer to come and make the decision for him? At that point, he's a felon on probation. He has no decisions. He wouldn't be asked to sign it for him. They would go to his probation officer to sign it first. So why is the probation officer not there to okay the search of the house? The probation officer would want to be there to begin with to know if he's violating his probation so that they can have him sent back to jail to begin with. And I could have swore that he said that the guy was already there. Now he just pulled up? Because he just said that.
Partner, go through your phone and your PC. We'll just clear this up tonight. And I said, yeah, sure. And I signed a release form. They grabbed my phone. Well, they didn't grab it. I handed it to him. and after her partner pulled up.
They grabbed the phone after I signed the police for after her partner pulled up. He is on probation, Black Goat, because he needed permission to go to Tennessee. I don't know why you guys are talking about shit when he said multiple times on stream he's still on probation. In fact, he just said that he can't wait to get off probation really soon so he can go see his wife. He said that on stream too.
And he thumbed through it, went through the images, looked at the history, and he's like, oh, okay, nothing here. Then they came in the house and they went through my computer. Not really that. They just kind of looked.
That right there. Did you hear what he just said? They thumbed through his phone and said, doesn't look like much, and handed back the phone. Not that they took an image of the phone, not that they fucking went and they ran it through forensics. No, they took his phone and just thumbed through it. Yeah, that's really the procedure that they go through when they're investigating these kinds of crimes. They thumb through the phone. Oh yeah, we looked at his gallery. We didn't see anything. There could be something hidden else on the phone. We're not going to look into it. Doesn't look like much. Here's your phone back. Go call your friends. Let them know. Come on. They thumb through your phone? Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, they just leave it right in the gallery, They don't have hidden volumes on the phone or anything hidden like that. No, they just say, oh, we thumbed through your phone. Here you go, buddy. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they don't pull out any of the special forensics kits or control pods and things that they use to fucking image stuff live. They would have taken his phone, they would have plugged it into a thing, they would have imaged the phone, and then handed it back to him. They would have never just thumbed through the phone and handed it back to him. That's bullshit. And I know damn well the FBI does not fucking do that. The FBI is not going to thumb through your phone and then hand it back to you. They're going to take a fucking image of it and they're going to send it out to an RCFL. Now, the agent that I just fucking called over an hour ago said the same fucking thing. They would have taken the phone, they would have taken that shit, they would have imaged it, they would have given it back to him, they would have signed the form. There is no way in hell an FBI agent's going to show up and they're going to send a fucking cop to take point. Are you kidding me? A cop would not get to take point on a case, especially a criminal investigation, in somebody possessing child porn. At that point, the FBI would take over. They wouldn't say, oh, well, this is my partner, and I'm going to let her take point. I'm going to send her out ahead to meet this guy that has a history of attacking cops, and she's going to sit and bullshit with him and talk with him about kiwi farms while I take a casual drive over there. So he casually pulls up in his own car, and he goes, yeah, let me just take a look at this phone. Oh, see, you're still using iOS 10. Might want to move up to 11, buddy. Actually, I think 12's out on the beta. Yeah. Looks good. Here you go. Hands it over. Walks into the house.
I looked around, poked around a little bit, and he's like, yeah, this is bullshit. And they left.
Yeah, so at that point, the cop just casually goes through his computer, doesn't pull out any kind of forensics tools, doesn't use any kind of programs to look for hidden volumes or shadow volumes on the hard drives, doesn't look for any encrypted volumes, nothing like that, doesn't bother to do like any kind of deep search or crawl the computer. No, he just checks out like the pictures in the My Documents folder, looks through some of the folders on the desktop, goes, it seems like bullshit, and just walks away.
Dick Toe says, Ralph, this is just what the fuck, man. Yeah, I mean, this is what's happening in real life, so I figured why not just put it all out there. Let's see, without a warrant. Yeah, because I mean, I let them look at it. I signed the release.
I let them look at it. I signed the release. I don't have a copy of the release though. I didn't bother to post that publicly to back up my story or anything.
Ralph, you are crazy. Are you crazy? Yeah, I mean, normally you wouldn't do something like that. I know Nick Recato is rolling over and you say, what the fuck? You need a lawyer. But no. I just went ahead and signed it. And they left. Actually, I think I have her card. There's the card right there. Of course, I blocked out her information.
Yeah, I had enough time to take a picture of her card. I block out her information, even though there's only one person that's female on the entire task force. And, I'm not going to bother to, block out my information and just show what they reviewed and what they scanned. They would have given me a detailed receipt of the programs that they ran, what kind of inspection that they did. The consent form would have said what devices were authorized to search in the house. It would have been detailed. It would have said exactly what computers they were scanning, laptops, hard drives, desktops, phones, USB drives. They would have written out a whole fucking receipt list for what they were going over. Yet they don't give him the receipt list. They don't. They just did a quick. Oh, I thumbed through his phone. Oh, it looks okay to me. Here you go, buddy. Go fuck yourself. All right. Let's go over here. Oh, well, I just looked at the computers. He plays Fortnite every once in a while. That's okay.
But there's her card, just in case people thought I was making this up. But yeah, they actually did come by, thumb through the computer, through my phone, and I had a laptop at the apartment. And I said, look, if you want to go through my laptop, we can go there and get it, or, you can go pick it up. And they said, no, we don't care. So.
Yeah, you're currently wanted or, under the suspicion of having and trafficking and possessing child porn on your computer. Yeah, go back to the other house. Go back to the apartment where you have this laptop that's, mysteriously not there. Nah, we don't care. We don't give a shit. We don't care. Yeah, we don't care about the laptop that you seem to be very concerned about and you moved it to the other house. We don't care. We don't give a shit. I gotta listen to this again.
Just in case people thought I was making this up. But yeah, they actually did come by, thumb through the computer, through my phone. And I had a laptop at the apartment. And I said, look, if you want to go through my laptop, we can go there and get it, or, you can go pick it up. And they said, no. We don't care.
First off, he already signed the consent form. They would have asked him what computers he had and what was in the house ahead of time so that they could fill out the receipt for what they're imaging. They would have said, how many computers do you have in the house? And he would have said, oh, well, my mom has some computers. I got a computer. I got a laptop, got an iPad. I got my phone. And they would have filled out everything. They do fill out a receipt for what they're imaging because they need to, because when you sign that consent form, you authorize and give the police as well as the FBI the right to own the image. So when they take that image of your computer, they own the legal rights and they can search through everything. And if they find anything, they can prosecute you for it. And you can't make any arguments because you've authorized them to take ownership of that fucking image. So yeah, they fill out a receipt form. They let you know specifically what computers they're searching and what images they're backing up. So if they went through and they actually did this, very weird that they did not give him a receipt, that they told him that they didn't need to see other laptops. Bullshit. You are fucking lying. There is no way in hell this story is real. No way. Bullshit.
So that's all that happened with that. So they left afterwards. Ralph got her digits. No, I did not. Smash or pass, Ralph. She was kind of attractive, yes. But that's what happened with all that. And originally I was waiting, so also I knew this guy was probably gonna put out a story. And so I was like, I'll wait and see before I put all this out there. But yeah, that's what happened. Looking through chat. Smash or pass.
So that's what happened, but never at any time do you say, Andy talked to the police. You told this whole story on your stream, but you never told anybody that Andy was there and that Andy talked to the police. Never at any time do you mention this. Why, when you're telling this story, do you not say that Andy was there, he backed me up, he said that they could come talk? Never once does any of this add up.
Pass, Ralph. I won't run that. I won't run that poll or ask that question. But she was fairly attractive. All right, but yeah, that's what happened with it. I told Gator this last night. I told other people, but I didn't go into it on air. But yeah, they actually did come up my house. The SOVA, that's Southern Virginia, I believe. ICAC Task Force. came by, looked through my shit, and cleared me of it. So
all I've got to say, Ralph, is that this is what happens when you try to protect children. It's the second time. It's the second time you've tried to.
You would have thought I would have learned by now, yes, but well, that's what
you
happened.
haven't learned your You haven't learned.
I don't know how anybody could hear this story and believe it. They sent a lone woman who took point on a case that the FBI is involved with, yet they sent a woman by herself ahead of time, and then the agent showed up. The agent isn't the person that does the forensic stuff. They bring in a computer scientist from the forensic lab that does everything, bags, tags it, makes sure it goes in little pink bags after they take the hard drives out, and they write down the receipts. They take the laptops, they put them in little pink bags. They write the receipt out. It's a carbon paper. They give them the yellow one. The courts get the pink one. The agents keep the white one. And then they turn all this shit over. They send it to a forensics lab. The forensics lab takes everything. The only thing that they usually do live images of, if they don't have like a Spectre kit, is they'll take a live image of the phone using something like Cellbrite. So it's just not. It doesn't. It's not clicking. It ain't gelling with me. It doesn't look weird, and they got him to sign a consent form because they didn't have enough credible evidence to get a warrant, and a cop wouldn't have gotten a warrant that quickly in a matter of a few days. They would have had to have gone to the feds for help. So if the feds were able to get a warrant, they would have never needed his permission. But the fact that he's on probation to begin with, they wouldn't have needed permission. They would have called his probation officer to supervise to see if he's in violation of his probation. And they would have had him turn everything over, and he wouldn't have been given the courtesy of, signing a consent form. It's just weird. This whole thing does not add up. I heard this story last night, and just fucking the bullshit alarm was going off in my house. He's still on parole. He said multiple times that he's on parole. He said he needed permission from his PO to go to fucking Tennessee. And then he said that he was getting off parole in the next few months and that he couldn't wait because he wanted to go back to the UK to visit his wife. He said this multiple times on stream. No, I said literally that the FBI and the police aren't going to work together on a special task force regularly. She said that was her regular partner, who is also on the FBI. That is not her regular partner. That is a liaison. The way that he explained it made no fucking sense. And if you look at this task force, there's only one woman on it, and her partner is a guy, and he's not in the FBI. You can see it by looking it up on the fucking SOVA ICAC website. It shows who's on the task force and who's on this. I can't believe this story. It doesn't add up. They don't take any images. They thumb through his phone. They thumb through his computer. They don't do any kind of forensic analysis. Are you kidding me? No, she said that she was that was her flat out partner. That her partner showed up, who's also in the FBI.
Me now.
When did he say that?
Anyway, the call goes on. It's like 8 minutes long. I'm not going to play the whole call. I only played 2 or 3 minutes for her. And at that point, I said, well, I didn't admit to any drug use. That's a lie. And I didn't have any child porn. And she's like, look, I don't even care if you have drugs. That's not why.
She said, I don't even care if you have drugs.
I'm here. I said, yeah, I understand. I know you have to check these things out. And she said, well, why would somebody do this to you? And I said, well, they think it's funny. And I literally pulled up 8chan Cow and showed it to her. I said, they literally sit in this thread all day and think of ways to fuck with us. And she said, yeah, I know a little bit about it. I said, the whole stream's up. She said, we had gotten sent clips, like little snippets out of the stream. And I said, yeah, the whole stream's posted if you want to go listen to it. She said, yeah, I actually did. It was on a place, something called Kiwi. And I go, Kiwi Farms. Obviously I already know what it is. And she said, yeah, Kiwi Farms. We started talking, and just like she was nice. I mean, there was no problems whatsoever. And she said, "Look, I just want to get this cleared up tonight. I think it's probably bullshit, but let's just get it cleared up tonight, so I don't have to. So we can just, I can report back and say there's nothing up." And I said, "Sure, okay." And she said, "If you can just let my partner, her partner is actually FBI agent."
Right there. You just let my partner. Her partner is actually an FBI agent. Agents have their own partners. They're usually in pairs of two, because legally, when agents meet you, they always have to bring an additional agent as a witness in case something happens or is discussed that could be illegal or illicit. It's actually in the agent handbook when they're being trained. So it wouldn't have just been one agent and a cop. It would have been two agents and a cop. They don't just hang out with the regular police. They would have come, two agents in the car, and they would have come and backed up the cop. They would have taken point, and they wouldn't have sent the cop there. Agents always come in pairs. Always. They have to, legally. So one lone agent wouldn't have shown up. They would have always come as a pair. It would have been two cops, and it would have been two agents and one cop. And they wouldn't have let the cop run point. They wouldn't have sent a female officer out there by herself when they're supposed to be the ones taking point. They never, ever send the cops first. If it's to the point that it's that serious that the FBI is being called in, they would have taken point. It's very strange. The whole story does not make sense. Agents do not show up without a partner. They do not show up by themselves. They always show up with two people. They never show up by themselves with a lone cop. That does not happen. It's just so weird. Why the hell would they send a woman by herself to talk to a guy who is on probation, who just did 8 months in prison for knocking out or attempting to punch a cop in the head? And then they send a lone agent out with no partner, no backup, to back up this woman, for which they make no attempts to scan or research or do any kind of forensics work. They just thumb through everything, click through everything, and then they say, "Oh, well, it sounds like bullshit. It sounds like a bunch of spurgs. This doesn't seem credible to me at all." I don't believe that. I don't. I don't take any of that seriously at all. I instantly, the bullshit alarm goes off in my head. And I start hearing this, and I just go, "Nah, that's not true." Who's gonna listen to somebody that tells this fucking story? You just start listening to them. Like, could you imagine her being on a cow? She's a cop, and she's got somebody from the FBI there, and they're just talking, and fucking, they see this random thing that he's on, and they click it, and they just go, "Oh, what's this?" And
all over me every fucking second. I can just scream over you too. You piece of shit motherfucker. Keep fucking running your mouth. I'll just keep hollering. You motherfucking piece of shit. Eat a fucking cop. Go kill yourself. You fucking piece of motherfucking shit. I fucking goddamn. Oh, we can just holler over each other all fucking day.
Yeah, get the fuck out.
Fuck you, motherfucker! I ain't leaving, bitch. You leave. What the fuck am I gonna leave for?
Because I can be on YouTube still.
Oh wow! With your little 30 people on YouTube. Oh my god, please.
I got more subs than you right now.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really just gonna go, "You seem like a nice guy." They're not gonna say, what are with all these pictures of you rubbing your stomach on a young girl? It says her name's Soph, and that you said it's okay for you to put your stomach on her head because she's got 800,000 subs? Yeah, they're just gonna be like, "Yeah, you seem like a nice guy." Yeah, we're totally okay with that. Nah, I don't believe any of this. Seems like bull, to be honest. You seem like a stand-up guy. I don't believe that it's you. Oh, what is this thing? It says alcoholic on it, and let's just see what this says. I'm just gonna do my due diligence.
Rest in peace!
Yeah, I really believe that story. So I don't know how the hell Andy talked to the cops when he was go-karting on stream when this apparently happened. It's just, it makes no sense. No sense. And now Andy's saying that he's there. Come on, Andy. You told me that you were never going to lie again. You told me you were going to be nothing but honest. I don't see how the hell Andy was able to talk to the cops at the exact same time. And what, you think I'm not going to call the cops and double check if they ever even came to your house? That they're gonna tell you that you're completely cleared of all crimes before they even fucking properly investigate it thoroughly? I don't believe this story. Andy told me he was never gonna lie again. That he was always gonna tell the truth. So I want Andy to come on here and tell the truth. I want Andy to come on here and try to tell me that he was talking to the cops while that entire time he was fucking playing go-kart adventure and playing with fucking buying TVs and buying arcade tokens. Yet he never once got off the stream that entire time. I can't believe this story. And then the cops that are there with FBI agents said, "Oh, you've got other devices that aren't on site? Other devices right here? Oh, don't worry about it. We're not going to do our due diligence and follow up. I mean, there's possibilities that there could be other stuff that's incriminating on that laptop, but we don't want to drive. You seem like a nice guy. Just go enjoy your night." Yeah, okay. Sure. They're in the middle of investigating you for potential crimes that they've been tipped on, and they're gonna say, "You seem like a nice guy. We're not. You can even have drugs in the house. We don't even care. We're just such nice people. Forget the fact that we're law enforcement." Yeah, okay. Come on. I'm gonna have a long talk with Andy about this because none of this is adding up to me. None of this makes sense. It doesn't follow legal procedure. It doesn't follow the procedure for documenting evidence for the Department of Justice. It doesn't follow the procedure for documenting evidence with the Federal Bureau of Investigation. None of this makes sense. I want to see proof of this. I want to see a documented, form signed by cops, signed by an FBI agent, and if I have to, I'll just call one of my colleagues and I'll ask them a question, and I'll have them look and see if the actual FBI was really there or not. Because this whole story doesn't make sense. Shows up, like, come on. Yeah, you know what? I should ask Nick about this. I think I am. I think I'm gonna ask Nick about it. I'm gonna DM him in a little while. Ask him about the legality of this. I'm gonna go eat some food, I guess, and then relax. So, thanks for joining me. Appreciate you guys watching. Really hope Andy isn't lying about this, because if I find out that Andy is lying for Ralph, well, then I will just cut all ties with Andy altogether because I hate liars. So, thanks for joining me. We're gonna enjoy some "Murder on My Mind" remix by our good friend Spirit, who was a guest on Ralph's show yesterday.
Oh, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You national talent, my nigga. Straight up. Got murder on my mind. I got murder on my mind. Niggas. How go? Didn't mean to shoot him. He just caught me by surprise. This is not good. No. No. No.
It's gonna be super hot fire.
Blood all up on my shirt. In the morning, I got murder on. An 847, Mac 11, Glocks and 9.
The Darkwing Duck, bro. Darkwing Duck. See my waves, bro? You ain't ready for these waves. You ain't ready. Have you ever had waves? Have you ever had waves?
I did. Yellow tape around his body, it's a fucking homicide. His face on the t-shirt, his family traumatized. I didn't even mean to shoot him, he just caught me by surprise. I reloaded my pistol, cocked it back and shot it twice. His body dropped down to the forehead, tears in his eyes. He got about my hand, saying he was afraid to die. Told me it's too late, my friend, it's time to say goodbye. And died inside my arms, burning all up on my shirt. Woke up in the morning, I got murder on my mind. AK-47, Mac 11, Glocks and 9s.
$322. Let's play it right now.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah.